Hey guys, welcome back to the Adler podcast, and surprise, surprise, it's not my room.
It's not my room.
Franco's room. And we are in a professional, very expensive studio, which I definitely cannot afford. I would really like to thank James for organizing all of this. I'd really like to thank 103 for having us here. Malta's Heart. And I'm really looking forward to this episode. Unfortunately, we will not have Joe on this episode, but thankfully, we have more than competent replacement in Francesca. Francesca, how are you?
I feel like those are massive shoes to fill. Please lower them expectations.
We're going to speak positively about Marvel now.
Yes, finally we can be positive.
We are not. No, Joe. Guest. Worry not, Joe. But go ahead.
What's up, James?
Good. Currently trying to get through my final year of my university course. Very hectic. But more than that, really excited for this podcast. Really nice meeting you today. I really want to see how this podcast goes.
Courage.
Let's go. So guys, what is the Adler podcast all about? Here we talk about movies, TV series, video games, and all that jazz. Before we start, I'd like to hopefully you can like, subscribe, give a heart, follow, and all that jazz. Make sure you do that because we need the support to keep on doing these podcasts.
And follow us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, and now we have a TikTok.
We have a TikTok.
We've become finfluencers.
Thank you, Joe, for doing our TikTok. I've always been very snobbish with regard to TikTok, but it's had its results. I mean, looking at the likes. It's had quite a few likes.
Grinch, always the Grinch.
I hate fun. And Franco, what's up?
What's up? Well, it's my birthday week today. This week, yes, 36. Oh my God, I cannot feel it. I already feel it in my back. I finished reading Quentin Tarantino's Cinema Speculation. Highly recommended, especially if you're a film geek. Even if you're not a fan of Tarantino, he has a nice pen. And you also get to know about more, hidden gems. But then again, Tarantino has his hidden gems are a bit hit or miss. Depends about your taste. But he has a really, really, I like his pen. I mean, he's a master dialogue writer, and I enjoyed it. a lot. So highly recommend it. And I will make a review of it on TikTok. So stay tuned for that.
I'm looking forward to that. Franco called dibs for that.
Yep.
Francesca, have you been watching anything recently?
Yes, to be honest, since you did your last podcast, you kind of woke me up to the fact that I really haven't been watching films recently. And I said, okay, that's it. It's almost Oscar season. It is practically Oscar season, I feel. Whenever it's like past Christmas, my next thing to go to is like Oscar season. So I was quite a bit sick over Christmas and New Year. So I took the opportunity and I've been watching quite a few films. Today, I finished, because I have a very bad habit of splitting up films sometimes, but I finished Marcel the Shell. And it made me cry about 6 times.
Oh.
I loved it. I don't know if any of you guys watched it.
A24 fangirl here.
Yes, 100%. I mean, they can do no wrong. Like, I feel like I'm sounding very biased.
They can do wrong, apparently. Silver Lake. Under Silver Lake.
I
haven't
watched
it.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I haven't watched it, but again, it's like apparently it's. I've seen many on the A24 film group. Shout out. They.
I love that group.
I love that group.
It's a hit or miss. Apparently, some people like it, some don't like it.
I wasn't a big fan. I have to be honest. But I also, that's so Marcel the Shell I loved, and I also watched Triangle of Sadness twice in 1 week.
Okay.
Okay. So I watched it once and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And in fact, I think I spoke to you about it before I watched it.
Yeah.
Franco, and I was saying like, okay, probably it's going to be all, like pretentious and stuff. And I said I probably won't like it because I'm not a big fan of pretentious films. It is so entertaining. Like, I was so entertained from beginning to end, particularly in the middle bit.
Yeah, the boat sequence.
Yes.
Boat sequence.
That's my friends and I met up for a film, and I said, we are watching this, no questions asked. And yes, no, it went down. Like, they told me, okay, next time you're choosing the film.
I'm team the menu, bro.
I haven't actually watched the menu yet.
I'm team the menu.
So I haven't, but yes, I've heard this a lot. So
I haven't
looking
watched it
forward
yet.
to it.
Triangle of
Watched it yet.
Sadness.
No, I'm still waiting to watch it with my girlfriend.
Do it before we have the
Yeah.
the bomb episode of
bombs.
Bonanno.
Since I'm kind of contractually obliged, I just wanted to mention that Triangle of Sadness sort of swept all the European Film Awards this year. Last year, actually, it got Best Film, Best Actor, Best Screenwriter, Best Director. It got the Lux Audience Award, I believe.
Recently.
The Palme d'Or as well.
The Palme d'Or, and there was also like a University Film Award, which, by the way, Malta is like the only country within the European Union that isn't involved in this. I tried to push for it,
But
and
wait, this is where we put the Pikachu meme. Why am I not surprised?
Oh, how sad.
Is
It-
it up
it is a
for an
shame.
Oscar as well, James?
I think so. I
No,
think so.
the nominees aren't out yet.
Still aren't out. The CGI are
24th
out. Special
24th
effects,
January.
soundtrack,
Thor Love and Thunder CG.
and no Batman in the soundtrack. That's
Oh, wait, yeah.
shocking.
Extra.
No
Extra.
Batman in the soundtrack.
I love that soundtrack.
The soundtrack was
That
amazing.
was a great soundtrack.
Something in the way.
James, have you watched anything recently?
I was in the same boat as Francesca was in December, sort of, really didn't have any time to watch many films just because I working on a lot of university assignments at the moment and all that. But the only sort of cinematic thing I've watched within the recent couple of weeks is the first 3 seasons of Succession,
Oh, nice.
which I found absolutely
Binge
brilliant.
watch.
Excellent.
Binge watch, yes. Binge watch. I was supposed to be working on my thesis.
Same, bro.
Yeah.
Haven't we all?
But I mean, Succession from a script writing standpoint and also from a soundtrack. Remind me who the
Nicholas
composer is.
Britell.
Nicholas
Britell,
Britell.
that's
Excellent,
it.
excellent
Love
composer.
Absolutely brilliant. I think weren't it for Britell, and if I were to describe his soundtrack, the way it's composed, it's sort of like classical music on cocaine. He has this way, like when DiCarlos did with A Clockwork Orange, sort of a similar way of bringing classical music back into the mainstream. Sort of,
Okay.
He does a lot of classical music in his movies. Even The King had some
Mhm.
very,
She Said,
very, very,
She
very,
Said.
very good music.
Andor
She Said,
was very-
Andor.
She said there's another film I watched recently. That's a great one.
It's a good one. No,
Mhm.
I was thinking about it. I changed my. I might change my opinion on After Sun, but after I recut it personally. I want to recut it somehow.
Okay. Interesting.
Franco, have you watched anything recently?
Nothing yet. Maybe Skinamarink. Skinamarink is a very low budget horror movie done during the lockdown. It's a Canadian movie. It has very, very interesting ideas. There were some moments where I was like, okay, there's going to be a jump scare. There's one sequence where basically the story is 2 kids find themselves in the house and the windows and doors disappear to the outside world.
Wow.
And it's the film unfortunately shows its budget, but it has many interesting ideas. Like it plays a lot with the idea of seeing shapes in the dark. To the point that I was like, oh my god, something's going to pop out. Is there something? Is there something not? And it pays off really well in the end. Again, unfortunately, there's a chunk in the middle that can go out. If I were to be the editor, it needed more judicious editing. But there were some moments where I was genuinely scared. And I mean, again, this can. Some people may dislike it because of its quality and its the way it deals filmically with the horror elements. Some people will like it because, again, the idea of darkness, not seeing those shapes in the dark. It's worth checking out.
This might actually be a worthwhile exercise to do. If I were to ask you to estimate what budget the film was made on, I'm not sure if you've researched it or looked it up.
The Skinamarink?
Uh-huh.
No, Skinamarink, I looked it up. Actually, Joe said it was like $16,000.
It's actually 16,000 Canadian dollars, so it's like more like 10,000 euros.
10,000 euros.
That-
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't
it's,
even buy you a car.
Yeah, but again, but that's why he was very smart with the kids, and he has the director, I forgot his name, Ken something because he's also a double-barreled surname. But he has very interesting ideas, and if he had more budget, I think so I will push him out there. someone needs to pick this guy up because he's got many interesting
Give him
ideas.
some money.
Yeah. No, there's again, that particular sequence I remember is the last part and the part where they say look under the bed. Even right now, it's like I was like,
Please stop.
here's something I want to say. I think the movies, some of the best movies, make you look away from the screen, not keep on looking. And I looked away. It's like, oh my god, something's gonna happen.
All right. In my case, I don't know if you watched it, guys. The Pale Blue Eye came out on Netflix this
Not
week.
yet.
Decent
Not yet.
movie, yeah. Decent movie. Nothing special. I think I gave it like a 3.5 in my review on social media. So go watch that.
On your TikTok, on your Finfluencer.
No, I haven't put it on TikTok yet.
Oh,
It's on
yes,
Instagram and
yes.
Facebook.
It's on Facebook.
It was a bit too long though for TikTok, I think. I think people who watch TikTok won't be able to concentrate for 2 minutes.
You'll get there. Do a bit of a dance and you'll get there.
Dance a little bit.
You can sing it.
So I watched that. It's a decent movie. Highly recommended. What else? I've watched. I started his Dark Materials. I don't know if anyone here has watched that
alright.
series. It's the third season.
There's
Final
me
season.
in it.
What?
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
The first of many.
I can't say anything because of spoilers, though.
But is it okay compared to Willow?
No, compared to Willow, it's night and day. No, the CGI for his Dark Materials is really good. I'm surprised the production value for it is excellent.
I saw a
Bear
react
looks
on
really
Corridor Crew. The bear looked freaking amazing.
The bear looks really good. No, the production value for it is excellent. I'm surprised how much money they gave them. Actually, I don't know the viewership for it. I'm guessing they have decent viewership though for it to get such a big budget. Especially its third season. There's lots of big battles because I'm aware of the books as well.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. There were quite some big names.
Yes, and what's his name?
the girl that played Weapon X in Logan. Forgot her name as well.
To be honest, it doesn't surprise me, the large viewership, though, because the books were big. I remember the books were
I
quite
don't
big.
know if they have very big viewership or not, but I'm guessing they do because of the budget.
I'm basing it
they're
off
not
the
going to
budget.
give them such a big budget if they don't know lots of people who watch it.
What streamer service is it? Or is
It's
it
on HBO.
HBO,
Max.
not
HBO Max.
not BBC. Oh,
I
yeah.
think BBC were part of the production team, though. I'm not sure.
I think
HBO
so,
were
but
part
it's
of the
streaming on
production team.
HBO.
But it's streaming on HBO, though. HBO Max, to check. Because those are different now, right? HBO and HBO
Yeah,
Max.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's complicated.
More things to subscribe to.
Everything plus,
money.
you know.
There's that, and I've been doing a bit of a rewatch as well of the Evil Dead series. I don't know if you guys have watched them.
I haven't. I've never.
I'm doing a bit of a rewatch.
from Sam Raimi's.
Yeah, I'm basically going through all of Sam Raimi's movies.
That's another. Speaking of budget, that's another very low budget.
very
How
low
much
budget.
was it?
Very, very cheap. I didn't check.
$60.
Very, very, very cheap.
$60 later. $60,000.
But the camera work in that is second to none. And the camera work in the Evil Dead series is
Trivia.
brilliant. Tlana.
So you know how they did the low angle shots and how they got
How they did those like shots.
Yes. And to get that sort of Steadicam feeling, they actually put a wooden mast. They attached the wooden mast with the 60mm camera, and they just carried it away.
Awesome.
And
Those shots are
and
brilliant.
Sam Raimi said it was one of like the hellish experience because the place where they were filming had no plumbing whatsoever, no heating. It wasn't the cold. So you remember where she had to do that ballet dancing with the skimpy dress. Yeah, that was like in minus temperatures. But again, it's one of the very
classics.
fun. Classic.
And Bruce Campbell. His acting is actually, I don't think I would consider that as good acting, but if he acted properly in this movie, I don't think it would have fit. Like, it's so campy and there's so many comedic elements in the movie because it's not just a horror. Clearly, they know none of this should be taken seriously. Like the whole The Evil Dead series is just a big comedy. And I think if he acted properly, I don't think it would have fit the tone of the movie. It has its scary moments, because the zombies themselves the sounds they make are horrific.
Horrific. Very horrific. The budget was $375,000 US dollars.
They made an excellent one.
And made $2 million box office here. It says 2.7 or 29.4 million.
Wow.
Made this money back. Like
Nice.
Avatar.
And like Megan.
Yeah.
I'm very curious
We have
about
yes, we
Megan.
have to do.
Has
Eric-
anyone watched it yet? No, I don't think it's
No,
not
we-
out
but
as
we're
well,
planning
right?
to watch it.
Oh,
We have to
man, I'm
make a
excited.
retraction because there's reviewers are liking it. Apparently, it's very fun.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Megan.
Sorry, Megan.
We hated on you
no,
too early.
not Megan. M. Trigan.
Trigan.
Because it's M. Trigan.
It's sort of become a meme around the film. Like some people are saying that reviewers are praising it just for the sake of creating this
Hype?
over.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I told you guys. I told you this must be all one big meme. The reason why they're giving it so much praise.
But they said that it's not taking itself seriously. And by the way, I just found out that the director, apparently he's from New Zealand, he made this movie called Housebound, which is also a blend of horror and comedy. And again, some of the reviewers said, I think Chris Tuckman said, that the trailer doesn't do justice to the movie as well.
Lots of social commentary as well, apparently.
Yeah.
But it's not much of a horror at all. It's like it's more focused on the social commentary
About AI, yeah.
and AI, exactly, rather than the horror elements come at the end of the movie.
This is becoming quite a genre, right? Like a lot of horror films are going this way. Like, I mean, Jordan Peele,
Elevated
I
horror,
would say started it. I probably not, but I feel like a lot of these, and now we're seeing the film that's probably at the top of everyone's list. I won't mention for now, but I feel like it might also go into the comedy horror.
No,
line.
I know. You can say it. One of our
Bo is Afraid.
Bo is Afraid. One of our anticipated list.
movie. I think everyone will have it on their list.
Oh, yes.
But let's speak about it later on. Yeah.
Because today our show will have two segments. First, we're going to start off by discussing some of the biggest news of the past week. We have a lot of news to talk about today and lots of trailers as well. And then we'll start talking about our most anticipated movies, video games, and series. I'm looking forward to that. See how many we can mention in the time we have. But let's get into it, guys. We'll start off with the news. And the first big news, which is, I must say, very sad news. We mentioned, I think, Franco, you mentioned him last week or the week before?
Something like that, yeah. The news about Andrew Callagham, whose recent documentary was published on HBO called Displays Rules. He's now facing sexual misconduct allegations. And thanks to Andrea, I was starting watching Hazanabi. He's a YouTube reactor on the left sphere. And I saw that he was reacting to, because he was basically one of his friend's allegations. We need to do more, guys. We're disappointing lots of people, guys. That's all I can say. As a guy, that's only... And Hazanabi said that, well, there's nothing much to add. It's not a question of being disappointed. It's one cannot imagine how traumatized the woman must have been going through that. There's nothing else to add. It's but yes, we have to do more, guys. That's no longer about believe the victim, blah blah blah. Not all men. We have to do more, guys. Just no means no. Full stop.
I can give you some quotes directly from because this is a TikToker who made these sexual assault claims. So her @ is cornbread casserole. And she was one of the first women to come forward and comment on this issue with regard to Andrew Callagham.
Was it his ex, sorry?
I have no idea.
But because Hazanabi said she's a reliable source because it's his ex. Continue, sorry, by the way.
So she claimed that Andrew Callagham wore her down and coerced her into getting intimate on the night of the alleged assault. She said in the video, I will tell you that he did eventually get consent, and that's the main point, is that he eventually got consent because he wore me down. He told me he needed a place to stay for the night. He had some sort of falling out with one of his crew members or whatever, and I was very clear about the fact that we are not hooking up. She continued, he gets in my bed and wears me down to the point where I eventually do agree to do things that I wasn't proud of, and I wasn't proud of them and thought it was my fault for so long that I continued to be nice to him. And this wasn't the only person, because after she spoke, lots of other women came out with these kinds of stories, which is horrific. As someone who's been watching the Channel 5 journalists for years now, well, I know it's not about me, but personally, I feel very disappointed. And I'm very sad that I supported him. And I've been talking a lot about his documentary on HBO as well.
His documentary is, I have to say, like I was telling Francesca before we started recording, it's like Louis Theroux, but for the YouTube generation. Very much like, the humor is very much like Eric Andre, the style. Anyway, wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because
It's very disappointing. No, very disappointing. And to be honest, like you, I'm very happy with the way Hasanabi reacted to it, because Hasanabi is a big friend of his. They've been friends for a very long time. And he speaks to thousands and thousands of young men online, young women as well, but his audience is a majority of men. And the way he reacted, I think, was
perfect.
Couldn't have done it better. We have to do better. That's all I have to say.
I think it's important that especially the friends of the perpetrators do come forward in a certain way that shows that they're not afraid of showing that they have been associated with this person, and they will not stand back, from standing out against what he's done, even if they were friends.
Now, let's make it clear. I don't give a shit what color is your Bugatti. Please, guys, follow Hasanabi, because he's trying to get some people out of the Tate sphere as well. Yeah? He's makes a good takedown, and I think it's one of the. He's a good role model for men. Hasanabi.
He's one of the most effective at combating
As well.
these far right wingers
And misogynist
like Tate and his army.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so
May Tate rot in jail.
From one of very, very, very sad news, we move on to something a little happier, a little lighter. And we got news about what an actor who was in one of my favorite movies of 2022, Paul Mescal, who apparently has been casted in the next Gladiator 2. So, Francesca.
Yeah, so unfortunately I haven't yet watched After Sun. I'm going to do that next Friday with a few of our fellow prickly pears. And I'm very much looking forward to that. I had followed him in Normal People, and I was a big fan of Normal People, the book. And the name is escaping me right now of the character that he played, but it was a very hard role to play. Extremely complex, so many layers, so many different emotions. And he handled it brilliantly. Like, I am so much in awe, and it was my first time seeing him on screen. I don't know if it was his debut. I'm not sure, but he definitely wasn't very well known before Normal People. But so yeah, very excited for After Sun, and even more excited for a film that not very long ago I had no idea was about to come out or is being thought about, rather, because I don't know if we have any kind of idea when it's planned for, or
no, I don't think
I'm
they
guessing
do have
not.
any.
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen.
He will return to Malta, Ridley Scott, for sure, to shoot it.
Okay.
And who did he in Normal People? Who did he play against?
Daisy. I'll check her name. Daisy something Jones, I believe. They were both quite new to the screen. So Daisy Edgar Jones was Marianne, and he played Connell.
Okay.
And it's very much about their relationship. So how they kind of made friends in their late teens, and them growing up. And it follows them over many years of their life and going through lots of changes, and the way that their relationship/friendship develops. Very difficult roles, both of them perform so well. So I'm very excited to watch Paul Mescal in literally anything he does, honestly, at this point.
So I watched him in After Sun, and I believe he was in another movie as well, apart from After Sun, recently. I can't remember what it was.
Pulling it up as we speak.
But I know I watched.
Oh, The Lost Daughter.
The Lost Daughter.
Which I love.
So good.
Lost Daughter.
He didn't have a massive role in that.
No. But
he was still a pleasure to watch.
he had a good conversation with Olivia Colman.
Yes.
That scene was really good. And they get drunk right in that
Yep.
scene. Yeah, it was so good.
So much catching up.
Yeah.
You see, even me, James, don't worry. I have to
The Lost
catch up with
Daughter
Lost
was
Daughter.
one of my favorite 2021
Actually,
movies.
I did watch the Lost Daughter. I was at the
Whoops.
what was it, like the big premiere, the
Oh,
world premiere at the Venice Film
At
Festival
Venice Film Festival.
of The Lost Daughter.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
And
Oh,
hadn't the father came out in Has the Father came out in 2021?
Yes,
the
I
Florian
believe
Zeller
so.
film.
Oh, yes.
Hadn't that film come out in 2021, it would have been my favorite film of the year. Was
The Lost
Daughter, definitely.
That's
I
fantastic.
also
It's
read
brilliant,
the
it's
novel
brilliant.
by Ferrante,
Uh-huh.
an absolutely
I
brilliant
shouldn't watch
novel.
it.
That's Ferrante.
Mhm,
Yep.
Yes.
Liliana Ferrante.
No,
Elena.
Elena.
Elena
Oh,
Ferrante. She has a new series now as well on Netflix.
Ah, okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know it was based on an Italian book. Oh,
Mhm,
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, The Lies of Adults, right?
My mom was watching it last time. No, I don't think it's my cup of tea, to be honest.
All right.
But Lost Daughter was excellent. I was very sad about Lost Daughter because last year when I did my top 10 movies, I still hadn't watched it. I think it came out near the end of the year, right?
On Netflix, yes.
On Netflix,
I
right
think around
Must have
December.
been-
Uh-huh.
And I hadn't watched it yet when I made the list.
Oh.
And then I watched it right after doing the list, and I said, "Oh, I should have put this on my list."
Dumbass. Dumbass.
It's always that way when I watch movies. Now, probably I'll watch Triangle of Sadness and wish I had put it in, maybe not number 1, because I loved After Sun way too much. And put that number 2 then.
you know my thoughts.
Franco has made his thoughts very clear about After Sun.
Ulele, but I've been saying I might change my opinion about After Sun. Let's see.
Mela, we also had the release of a number of trailers, which we won't be commenting about for spoilers, because we'll be mentioning them in the next segment. We had, just came out, in fact, a trailer for Beau's Afraid, Ari Aster's next movie. We also had the release of Nicolas Cage's next movie, Renfield. And we also had the release of the trailer for Jungi. Oh.
Zongi, because it's a play on words on electricity and affection. So Zongi.
Our local speaker.
Local speaker.
Yeah.
And how should I try to say the director's name? Yeon Sang-ho?
Yeon Sang-ho.
Yeon Sang-ho.
Yeon
All
Sang-ho.
right.
He's the same director of Hellbound,
Okay.
which
I hadn't
I preferred much more than Squid Games as far as philosophical conundrums were concerned, especially theologically as well.
Mhm.
And he also was responsible for Train to Busan.
Mm,
All right.
like that.
So I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with next.
Mm-hmm.
And the CGI, I can comment about the CGI later on.
Later on. All right. Next up, in news that will surprise absolutely no one, Wednesday has been renewed for season 2.
Of course.
I don't know if anyone here has watched Wednesday. I watched it and I loved it. Francesca, your reaction was surprising.
I do want to maybe give it another try, but I watched maybe the first 20 minutes, and I have to be honest, the script bored me. I find it very difficult to get into new TV series, especially the first few episodes, particularly when they're so popular. I tend to go in with certain expectations, and I'm almost always disappointed. So the same happened with Money Heist and with several others.
Even season 1 of Money Heist?
Yes, I mean, then I ended up watching it partly because it was during the pandemic and I had maybe not much else to do, but also to just jump onto the hype train. And then I did end up enjoying it somewhat. I still wouldn't say it was one of my favorite series, but so I don't know, maybe I'll try, but I'm a bit picky with my series.
Let's just say the writing is not brilliant, but Jenna Ortega's performance is brilliant. She gives a great performance. Probably you've seen the dance already.
No, I don't think so.
The dance is everywhere on TikTok.
Oh,
on
wait,
TikTok,
yes, I think I have.
With the song going on.
I might have.
you sometimes wonder whether these series are made just to create memes.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Megan.
Megan.
The dance in Megan. There's a dance in
Yes,
Megan,
yes.
which is everyone on TikTok as well. They're
fact-
clearly made to be memed.
In fact, I know more about Game of Thrones without watching it just because I saw the memes.
In the case of Game of Thrones, I don't really think it was aimed to be memed.
No,
it was
no.
just, part of the script. But in the case of, I'm sure, in the case of Wednesday, and in the case of M3 Gun, I still can't believe
I
it's
think
actually a good movie.
maybe with Game of Thrones season 8 is a meme in itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
But that's because the script writers are
shots
incompetent.
fired.
we don't talk about it.
Didn't Joe say he didn't hate season 8, or am I?
Actually, I
No,
didn't
no.
hate season 8.
You didn't hate
either.
it?
I didn't hate it. I disliked it, but I didn't hate it.
No, I hated it.
I wouldn't go out with pitchforks, to
I
to
would.
kill the.
I'm sure some did. Some actually did.
not pitchforks, like a bell shouting shame. Speaking of memes.
All right. So there was some worries about Wednesday actually not being renewed on Netflix because there was some drama about it possibly coming out on Amazon. Don't know if you heard about that, but apparently that's all forgotten. And season 2 will be on Netflix. There might be problems with season 3 then if they have an eventual season 3 because apparently the contract was for 2 seasons on Netflix. And there were some big changes. I completely forgot what those changes were, but apparently season 3 might come out on Amazon now.
Umnalla,
We'll
because
see.
they cancelled 1899 as well, so they at least they have a flagship with Wednesday as well.
That's true. But 1899, have you watched
I
1899?
haven't
No, I
watched
haven't.
it yet, but
I started, I watched like 3 episodes. To be honest, I was completely lost. And I put in a lot of effort to watch Dark, and I enjoyed it. I didn't feel like putting in that effort for 1899. I wasn't in
in the mood.
in that mood, definitely. I might watch it in the future, but given that there isn't a second season now, it's cancelled. Like, lost all motivation to watch it. Anyways, moving on to a movie, a small indie budget movie, which you might have heard of, probably not, called Avatar, The Way of Water, which Franco has passed 1.7 billion at the global box office.
Wow.
That is a surprise. James, you've watched Avatar, right?
I have. I was really going into Avatar. I absolutely loved the first Avatar. I saw it at home. I didn't get the chance to watch it at the cinema, but I think it's one of those films which you immediately know what you're going for as soon as you walk into the theater, What I didn't know was that the frame rate would be changing every 30 seconds or something. That was really jarring for me. I mean, coming from a gaming childhood, it was as if the film was lagging.
That's true.
I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, that was
about
my
it.
exact comment, remember, Franco?
And you watched it in 2D, right? As well.
I did.
People are, again, and we mentioned that apparently in 3D it's not as noticeable.
Apparently, what I heard is that different versions of the film were shown in different countries. So, for instance, there were countries in which it was shown exclusively in 48 FPS.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is a rumor or like a myth.
But didn't they use different cameras for the 48 and the 23.9?
I think so. But maybe there's like some interpolation.
be.
I'm not sure what the process is.
That might not.
I mean, there were some scenes which were upscaled from the original Avatar for the second Avatar, so I would assume that there is the technology there too.
No, for upscaling for sure into 4K, and they must have went over the graphics as well because of different processing.
Definitely.
And what there is a myth actually. That part of there was a particular shot where they show the water. They're not sure whether it's real or CGI. And apparently, again, they actually Corridor crew watched the clip again because in the latest trailer they changed the clip into a CGI, and the first one was actually real only because of a very subtle detail, the bubbles in the water.
Wow.
All right.
In the CGI, the bubbles don't show. But again, we're not sure if they have the technology. But who is the company behind it?
I think there are like 1 million companies behind the CGI.
No,
Disney are pushing because now Disney have the first Avatar on Disney Plus. So
okay. Lucas, but it's not LucasArts. No.
No. I think doesn't Cameron have his own production team?
I believe he assembled like a whole CGI company just for Avatar, and that the fluid simulator they create is like the most advanced.
Yes, which is they patented. In fact, it's his own.
And I did actually have some concerns as to whether the research that James Cameron has been putting in will be shared with the rest of the film industry, because it's a shame if not, you know.
Big Jim. All depends on Big Jim.
So it's distributed by 20th Century Studio. That's what I've read here. Production company Lightstorm Entertainment, TSG Entertainment. And distribution by 20th Century Studios.
And the graphics, the VFX.
So did you guys watch it in 3D?
Weta Digital.
No. No, 2D. I can't do 3D.
2D.
I can't do 3D with my glasses.
Yeah.
Don't know if you have the same problem.
All right.
I can't do. James, do you have the same problem?
It's unbearable to have
Um,
2 glasses. My God.
No, and to be honest, even I tried wearing my contact lenses once to go and watch a 3D film, but I just get so much motion sickness. Like, there are half the games on PlayStation that I can't play because they're first-person view.
I really don't know why 3D is still a thing. I mean, aside from the business opportunities that 3D offers, of course, because tickets are more expensive. Because for me, the effect is always lost in 3D. Now, it might be because I wear glasses, but I don't know. I never went into a 3D theater and was afraid that something is gonna jump out at me, you know?
I think the only time I went and I felt it was effective were like the actual IMAX films.
Documentaries.
I remember when the IMAX cinema opened up in Malta.
Joe said.
I
the one in
I don't know
Eden.
if you existed yet.
No.
I remember the one in Eden.
The one in Eden.
Did she bought now?
No, because he's younger.
Because I'm getting older this week.
But I'm closer to your age.
I was actually gonna pull Franco's leg because it's also my birthday week, but only like 15 years younger. So
Wait,
Oh, snap.
January when?
13.
Oh.
High five, man. January 13th.
Because even Franco's January 13th.
January 13th.
Wow.
No way.
Oh, Friday is nice. It's a good day to have it.
Yes.
By the way, Franco, you're coming to watch After Sun again, or you don't want to ruin your birthday?
No, I don't. I have no plans, to be honest, because I'm very
you should
relaxed.
totally come and watch After Sun, and
Then we'll go for drinks after.
exactly, you'll just get lots of free drinks.
Hey.
And Pizza Hut.
I wouldn't mind Pizza Hut. I always say yes, Pizza Hut.
So someone who does not need free drinks is James Cameron, because I got it from Hasanabi. So because his movie has now grossed $1.708 billion globally. Now it's overtook Jurassic World, which had grossed $1.67 billion. Then the
And
movie
Top Gun.
made a lot of money. And it's flown past Top Gun Maverick, and it's on its way of becoming #1 movie of 2022 grossing. Yeah, it's right now it's the 7th highest grossing movie in the box office history. Apparently, it's made $517 million in North America and $1.19 billion overseas, and it probably will hit the 2 billion mark by the time we release this podcast. By the time we release this podcast, probably will have. There were some predictions of it making 3 billion. I don't think it will, though. They were saying it would be the first movie to hit 3 billion, which I don't see it doing.
That's 2 billion maybe.
Avatar, the original Avatar, made 2.9 billion.
2.9, yeah.
Oh wow, very close.
And it had a re-release
And
as
it had
well,
a
right?
re-release,
Which
exactly.
helped, of course, bump up the figures.
Of
Talking
course.
about re-releases, you heard Titanic just re-released again.
Yep.
In
Again?
3D
Yes.
or,
Again.
or 4K? What's the...
I think
It's
4K.
really like very recently.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
Did
wow.
they polish the VFX as well? on
I
it,
think
maybe?
so. I think so. Because I was going through Movie Insider to check what movies are coming out. I was like, Titanic, but didn't that come out like 25 years ago? Yeah, they're re-releasing it.
Oh, wow.
Re-releasing it
That
again.
movie, but that movie is one of a few that still used practical effects as well, with the Titanic model as well.
Titanic made 2.2 billion.
Mela.
So he's going to have Avatar 1, Titanic, and Avatar 2, all in the top
Wow.
5, 6, 7, potentially most grossing movies of all time.
Interesting how they're all quite divisive as films. I mean, I don't know about Avatar 2, but the first Avatar was
It's
incredibly
very
divisive, and so was Titanic, I feel. Interesting. What are you doing?
So
James
for my
Cameron?
birthday, Leo DiCaprio will paint me like one of his French guys.
But what does he do? This is the thing I want to discuss today. What does James Cameron do to get so many butts on seats? Because I mentioned it in my review, if you remember, Franco. But what is it about his movies that gets so many people on a seat and paying money?
I will mention Godzilla vs. Kong. I think it's the spectacle that gets it in, because Godzilla vs. Kong, I didn't give a shit about the characters, about Millie Bob Brown's characters, but the spectacle was there. I really enjoyed that movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, and I think it's the same here with Avatar. It's I don't know, maybe he's cocksure a lot, like when he does interviews, he's very almost bordering on the arrogance. Even the fact that he's going to do more sequels, like, okay, maybe stop, because he might go down the route of Marvel.
But I think with Godzilla vs. Kong, it's a very special use case just because it was released like shortly after cinemas were reopened, at least worldwide. So that helped a lot of people, who spent like 12 months not going to a cinema to go watch it.
But remember also Tenet.
That's exactly what I was thinking about Tenet.
Nolan was like, Tenet is going to be the movie, and it did fuck all basically.
But then again, I think people were looking for something less intellectual to watch.
That's I think I don't think Avatar is as intellectual.
No, there is quite a bit of social commentary, especially with regard to the environment and resource manipulation and colonialism. But I don't think most people will come out of it thinking about that. I think just my reviewer brain.
Because it's more about the spectacle.
Could it also be that Avatar, and this doesn't really apply, I guess, for Titanic, I don't know, because it was released in a very different time, Titanic, so I don't know if we can compare, but I feel like Avatar is also a film that people take their kids to watch as well.
There were a lot of kids in the cinema. James.
Whereas, many other blockbusters, and so I guess there's also Marvel are also a bunch of films that people take their kids to.
That's another thing. What makes it different from Marvel?
But Marvel have a big franchise behind them, I remember. So Marvel have the Avengers Endgame, which is the second highest grossing movie at 2.79 billion in Avengers Endgame. And there is Avengers Infinity War, which made 2.04 billion. That's number 4.
There's IPO.
And I think with Marvel, you sort of have to subscribe to watching the phase of the cinematic universe, which, which with Avatar, it's
exactly
the point of entry.
There's no point of entry.
There's no point of entry.
You don't have to watch like 20 other films.
That's right.
That's right.
I read that Kevin Feige, the idea behind every single one of his Marvel movies was to make any movie a potential entry point for viewers. So apparently the scriptwriters always had to keep in mind that they had to not only obviously continue a story, but make it a potential entry point for someone who's new to a movie. Now, I don't know how you can watch Infinity War or Endgame as a new viewer of Marvel, but that's the idea behind the scriptwriting apparently.
Yep.
But anyways.
Which would make sense. But...
moving on to, I don't know guys, if you've played Gran Turismo when you were young.
Yes.
We did.
Francesca didn't.
But go ahead.
But we got some footage from this upcoming Gran Turismo movie, which I'm not too excited about. But it's directed by Neil Blomkamp, who made District 9, one of my all-time favorite sci-fi movies.
Neil Blomkamp, but his latest entries are not... I hope this will be... I hope I will be wrong with this one, like we were wrong with Trigan. But it didn't convince me, Istra. Have you ever watched his Oat Studios series on YouTube?
No.
That was very great. Those were like a precursor to Love, Death and Robots. Because Neil Blomkamp also has a CG studio. And this one, Gran Turismo, it's in partnership with the PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it will live up to its hype. But some of the shots were like, I didn't like the lighting.
Very questionable.
The lighting looked very questionable, and especially now that already some reviews are coming out about Last of Us being one of the best video game adaptations. It's an uphill struggle for Gran Turismo. Maybe it will attract car enthusiasts like the Fast and Furious.
I'm sure it will.
And the video game users as well. Not convinced.
James.
I heard a lot of good things about the Last of Us show, but with the monumental cock-up, which was Uncharted, I don't think PlayStation can really redeem themselves with Gran Turismo.
Uncharted was done in collaboration with PlayStation as well.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
Of course. I mean, it's a PlayStation exclusive.
What the heck?
That was one of my disappointments. Last week we had the biggest disappointments of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those I mentioned. Uncharted was a big disappointment. That movie. my question was, how can you make an Uncharted movie boring? Like, you really have to try, but you have to put in a lot of effort just to make it boring. Because just take the story from the video game and adapt it into a movie, and you've got a fantastically written.
Exactly. They're so cinematic.
And miscast, too. Miscast.
Completely miscast. Completely. Every single character was miscast in that movie. Can't think of one character was properly cast. Tom Holland, oh, come on.
But they wanted to...
He's no Nathan Drake, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's one thing. And they wanted to ride the bandwagon on his Spider-Man success.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, did anyone here watch District 9?
I've watched District 9.
What do you think, Franco?
I love that movie
So
as
good,
well.
eh?
It's really good.
The CGI, what do you think of the CGI?
CGI is also good as well. And that's another good example of a movie where the CGI is seamless and in service of the story, not the story in service of the CGI.
I love the gore. The gore in it was really good. The
Yeah.
alien gore, because there are a lot of aliens that explode.
Yeah.
But the gore is really well done. It feels really realistic, even the way it's shot. Moving on to the last piece of news we have this week, which is Dave Bautista, who calls MCU Exit a relief. And he called his Drax performance a silly performance, which was a bit surprising. I know it's silly, but a lot to discuss here. And apparently, he wants more dramatic roles. With whom, Franco?
With Denis Villeneuve, because that's something we're excited to see in Dune Part 2. He said one of the headlines, I've only seen the headlines, that he would be ready to work for fucking free with Denis Villeneuve. And he already did a good job with in Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, he was brilliant in that scene.
He was really good.
In fact, that's what I'm looking for.
He has the emotional range. Eh?
He does. I was surprised how good he was in that.
And who here has seen Glass Onion?
Yeah, in fact, because I was trying to remember.
Blood.
No, I agree.
No, she agrees. She's on my side.
No, my deep breath was to ready my stream of insults.
Look, no,
Francesca, go, Francesca, go.
Look,
support suddenly.
Because even Ryan Johnson said the problem with that movie is they said it's a Knives Out mystery. It's not Knives Out mystery, so people had this expectation that they're waiting for another Knives Out.
To be fair, even without that subtitle, which I don't think Ryan Johnson even wanted himself.
Exactly.
But when I saw Ryan Johnson and a very similar kind of setup as Knives Out, let's face it. I mean, there were the same characters. There was Daniel Craig. I don't know if he was.
Yeah, Benoit Blanc. Yeah.
I mean, of course, the expectations are going to be there.
No, I enjoyed it. I didn't. I think I switched off a bit my brain because I know what I was expecting.
No. But my point is that it wasn't even the performances that bothered me. It was more the writing, which I cannot understand because it's the same person. But I felt like the characters, what the characters were saying was so... I'm dying to say stupid, but I'll say not challenging. It was stupid.
Try it.
Like, really shallow. And
So shallow.
I couldn't believe that.
And you liked Don't Look Up?
It doesn't bother me half as much as
because
this.
Don't Look Up has a like it's not.
Oh
it's
yes,
not...
okay, a little bit. I mean, to be fair, I think Don't Look Up. I had heard so much hate before I watched it. That's my expectations were sufficiently lowered.
I love Don't Look Up. By the way, it was one of my top 10 movies of 2021.
I see why it was.
I loved it.
I see why it was middling because some things I like, some things I didn't like.
So DiCaprio was brilliant in that.
DiCaprio was good.
I enjoyed DiCaprio. And some of the writing was pretty decent, I would say. It wasn't amazing.
But
DiCaprio's monologue was.
But some of the jokes as well, like even Jonah Hill.
Agreed.
Yeah, some of it was a bit cringe.
No, I think any
some of it was a bit
part
cringe,
of where Jonah Hill was acting, I was cringing.
Okay, speaking of, to go back to Glass Onion and Dave Bautista. I mean, Glass Onion, don't tell me the mise-en-scenes weren't that good because he had some really great mise-en-scenes.
Okay, but for me that's not enough to save a film.
And to wrap up with Dave Bautista, he's willing to make more challenging roles. And remember last time that Tarantino made a really good point where he said the star in this case the star is not Dave Bautista, the star is Drax. So he's right to feel a bit limited, but I look forward to what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
Even I always remember what he was in Spectre, right?
He was. He was Inspector.
In fact, I was looking him up.
What?
I want to see
Yes,
what
he was Inspector.
Completely
Or,
forgot.
Spectre or No Time to Die. No, Madonna.
Yeah, Spectre, you're right.
Spectre, yeah.
What was he, Inspector?
He actually went. That's another trivia. When he met again with Daniel Craig for Glass Onion, it was a better experience because Inspector had to fight Benoit Blanc. My name is Blanc, Benoit Blanc. No, but he said that the atmosphere was different. He enjoyed working with Craig on Glass Onion.
James, have you watched any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
No, I'm not necessarily a hater of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I'm a completionist, and were I to get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'd have to start from, is it The Incredible Hulk? The first
Incredible
TV
Hulk,
series?
then Iron Man.
Which
Ang Lee's Hulk doesn't fall.
no, the TV series, the 80s.
Illallo.
That's the one I'm referring to.
Illustra.
Like to be very.
If you want to go, well, I not even I've watched those.
But I mean, yeah, I remember watching Infinity Wars in cinemas, which I don't know why my brother dragged me to watch Infinity Wars when I hadn't watched any other Marvel film before that, except for maybe some Iron Man.
So you're a good test to see whether it's a standalone film or not.
True.
Introduction point.
How do you find it as an introduction point?
I really didn't catch anything that was going on, to be completely honest, because I think it's like with a TV show, you have first to get like invested into the characters and their storylines and their sub storylines, you know, to really get into the Marvel universe.
I loved Infinity War. I was surprised it actually worked because it had like 3, 4, 5 storylines all going on at the same time.
So many characters.
So putting away my bias against Marvel, and I have a lot to say about Marvel, but the Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, couple of movies were really well written.
I prefer Endgame to Infinity War.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Damn.
No,
first times I'm hearing this.
No, both I like for the same reason. They really tied in the storylines well enough. So kudos to the Russo brothers.
No, 100%.
But I somehow preferred Endgame. I don't know, maybe because I think there were higher stakes.
Okay.
I remember enjoying Endgame more somehow.
Mm-hmm. Endgame has a lot of wow moments, more than Infinity War. Infinity War has its ending though. The ending is
it's devastating. Yeah,
not something you expect out of a Marvel movie.
True. I remember Infinity War, as I said, they went there. They did raise the stakes. You know?
They did. That's what I want is out of this new phase. There's those stakes aren't there right now.
Yeah.
It's just so
Safe.
bottom of the barrel right now. It's like super safe.
Scorsese said recently when he awarded Tar, I think you would know about festivals, New York Festival. Is it Tribeca? No.
The Kate Blanchett film.
I think Spirit, Independent, yeah. But he awarded Tar the best film.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's like, cinema is alive again. Because that movie is not safe at all.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I haven't watched it yet, but it's definitely...
It's well worth to watch.
For sure, it's right on my radar.
I loved it. Because of
very
it.
much looking forward to
I really like the ambiguity. I really enjoy ambiguity in movies sometimes.
I think it's going to be very hot with regard to the awards season because it's one of those movies that I can make a splash.
Kate
in the Oscars.
I think Kate Blanchett should take the Oscar.
100%. Her best performance.
Which is saying a lot when we're talking about Kate Blanchett.
Yeah. No. I was listening to... That's another thing I was doing. I really listened to these director podcasts. He said Todd Field said that she spent a year getting into the character. So especially with the pandemic going on. Because that's what was happening. Like he said, he was supposed to... There was a window of opportunity where the light was perfect in Berlin to shoot. And he wanted to do it there, but then there was a second lockdown in Berlin, so she had enough time to like really wear the character's skin.
I don't know if you heard this story, but Franco knows. I got into this movie. I found out about this movie like a few months before, and so I thought Tar was an actual real conductor. Like, she was actually
Okay.
the real conductor. So I looked up the whole story, and I thought, how have I not heard about all this controversy and so on? I was like, oh wait, she's not an actual real conductor. This is just, I just read the plot of the whole plot with spoilers and all
Oh shit.
of the movie.
In
Wait,
other
how did you not know that you were reading? I mean,
No idea. I thought I was just
dear.
reading like a biography of
in
her.
other words, go in blind for this movie.
Please
And
do.
Secondly, that's one of the fortes of the movie, because it's Todd Field said the character for him feels real,
It feels so real.
and you're not the only one thinking about it being a real character. That's how
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
well written it is.
well written and well performed. The opening scene with the interview, I won't say anything more. But Kate Blanchett is excellent. Excellent. That scene, it feels like it's actually like I thought. In that scene, I thought she was actually copying a real interview that had taken place.
Wow.
It felt so well perfect. Like it was too perfect not to be copied off a real interview. And then when I found out that she's just doing her own interpretation, not of anything, her own, like of a written character, not someone that actually did this, I was mind blown. When I found out after the movie.
Franco, do you know how she got into character? Was there maybe some method acting involved?
Not that I know of. I know that Todd Field most probably was thinking about her to the point that his wife was nudging him, call her. That's
Wow.
what he said in the podcast. I'm not sure about the method acting or not, but I know Todd Field said that he usually doesn't like letting the actors write with him as well. But since it was Kate Blanchett, he may gave her some leeway.
Mhm.
She said Kate Blanchett as well.
He apparently, when Todd Field wrote the story, there was only one actress he wanted for the role. He said if Kate Blanchett wouldn't have accepted the role, he would have scrapped the whole movie. Yeah.
Extra. Okay.
Yeah, he just
Wow.
wanted one actress. That's it. He said if she declined the role, he would have thrown the whole script away.
Great chemistry. They have great chemistry
Yeah.
as a working duo as well.
Mhm.
Like Mia Goth and T West.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we can move on to the next segment of the show, which is going to be obviously the biggest discussion we have today, which are the most anticipated video games, movies, and series. Now, as you might have noticed, our resident MCU hater is not here. Fortunately, he's in Glasgow and he's still working, so unfortunately he could not join us. So he decided to record his own most anticipated movies, most anticipated series, and video games. And here are Joe's most anticipated content for 2023.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe. Apologies for not being physically present with the other guys on the podcast today, but some things came up. But without further ado, I will jump into my most anticipated games allegedly coming out in 2023. And I'll start off with Starfield, because it seems to be the most obvious one. The new game from Bethesda, allegedly Skyrim in space, according to Todd Howard. Looks huge, looks pretty good from what we've seen so far. I do have some kind of skepticism to go with this, just because I know Bethesda can be like, their games can be quite buggy at launch, but I mean, Skyrim in space sounds good to me, and I've been waiting for a very big space exploration RPG for a long time. Moving on to my next most anticipated game, that would have to be Atomic Heart. Now, this looks like BioShock meets like Soviet era steampunk-ish kind of vibes. Been in development for a while, can't name the developers off the top of my head, but looks like it's really going to fill like the hole in my gaming heart, which BioShock would normally take. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of BioShock, this looks a lot more up my alley because of that Soviet spin. I really like the kind of style it's going for. Moving on to my next one, and this is where it's a bit difficult for me in terms of how anticipated these are. It would be Spider-Man 2, which is a surprise for me. I played the previous Spider-Man on PS4, having been a big fan of Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 way back in the day. And it gave me the same feelings that original Spider-Man 2 did. It was fun, swinging was great, looked incredible, but most importantly, it told a very comic book-worthy Spider-Man story, which I feel is rare for things involving Marvel characters these days. For the listeners, you know how I feel about a lot of Marvel stories. But yeah, Spider-Man 2 looks cool. Like hints of Kraven the Hunter in it. We obviously got Venom in the trailer. Really, really curious to see how they're going to implement both of those things, and can't really wait for this one. Next up on my list is a sequel to a game I only played for the first time last year, but I really loved, and that's Alan Wake 2. The first Alan Wake I only played because I had recently gotten a PC. I never had an Xbox, so I was actually able to play it. But it was like playing through a Stephen King novel, and that was the best thing about it. It was kind of weird, bit Twin Peaksy as well, and apparently the sequel is going a lot more proper survival horror, and given that the first Alan Wake was pretty fucking creepy to begin with, glad to hear that they're kind of steering into the skid with that one, going down more of the traditional survival horror route, so very excited for that. And that brings me to my top 3 most anticipated games. Let's go to the one that I've been disappointed by already, just because it's been delayed so many times. This is a sequel to a game that I really loved and me and my friends played a lot. It was meant to come out on my birthday last year and it didn't. It's allegedly coming in February this year. I think February 23rd it's supposed to release. And that is The Sons of the Forest, which is a sequel to The Forest. For those who don't know, that's a survival game where you crash on a plane on this island and your son goes missing. You have to look for him. There's base building, there's hunting, there's crafting. But there's also these very weird cannibal-esque creatures on the island, and the AI that they've got, like, in the first forest is incredible, because sometimes they just come and they watch you, sometimes they follow you, they'll ambush you at night, and it's difficult, it's terrifying, and the second one just looks like to take everything great from that first game and just expand it and add more to it. And as I said, I've been waiting for this one for a while. Really do hope it actually releases now in February. I feel like this would be very late to bring another delay. But yeah, really can't wait for the Sons of the Forest. My second would be Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Being a lifelong Star Wars fan, I did play the original Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and surprisingly loved it. It was a little bit buggy at launch, but it did get the necessary updates to be less buggy. And probably the best thing about that was that came out in a time where, at least for me, it was very dark times for Star Wars. Especially the stories they were telling. It was, I think, just after the Rise of Skywalker, so not a good time at all. And it really breathed new life, especially into the Jedi. Told a really, really good Star Wars story worth telling, with good performances, with good graphics, with good gameplay, because essentially it's a Dark Souls game set in a Star Wars universe. And the second one seems to, again, just be building on that, adding to it more. But the thing it has to nail for me is that story. If it doesn't nail the story, it's going to be a hard sell for me. But it's looking good so far. And that brings me to my most anticipated game, a game I will probably be getting day one later this month on the 27th of January when it releases. And that is the Dead Space remake. Normally I'm pretty against remakes unless they look like this. This is a ground-up remake of the original Dead Space, one of my favorite games ever. One of the games that really, like, kind of solidified me to the survival horror genre. I was quite young when the original Resident Evil games came out. I only saw my brother play those, was interested by them. Quite young when the Silent Hill games came out, but I did replay those later on in life. But Dead Space was the one where I was like, fuck, this is really good, this is really terrifying. And this looks exactly what I want. I haven't been able to experience that game properly since playing it on the PS3, and I'm here for it. I haven't bought the Callisto Protocol yet, which is like meant to be its like spiritual successor, just because I'd heard some middling things about it. But yeah, can't wait for the Dead Space remake, and those are my most anticipated games of 2023 that actually do have release dates. Moving on, let's go to my most anticipated TV shows of 2023. I am the one that doesn't watch as much TV probably as my other two counterparts in this podcast, but I do try to do my best. I've only got 5 down. Yeah, 4. I've only got 4 TV shows down. Let's go ranking in terms of least anticipated to most anticipated. So my least anticipated would be one that I only heard about recently, and I'm mainly interested in just because who's created it, and it's Poker Face, which has been created by Rian Johnson. Big fan of his work, and this looks like he's doing kind of like a Columbo whodunit style serial TV show with Natasha Lyonne in the main role. It's bringing in a lot of other like big names. I know that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in this, reuniting with Rian Johnson again, and it just looks fun. It looks like a reason to have Peacock, and yeah, it looks like it could be a good, easy watch at the end of a week. Moving on to my next one, it would be The Idol. Now, this is from his name. No, I've just thought of his name. Sam Levinson is the creator of this, along with The Weeknd, who stars in it alongside Lily Rose Depp. And Sam Levinson is the creator of Euphoria. That's one of my favorite TV shows. I love it for the over-dramatized teenage drama. And this looks like to be the same thing, but less teenagers. This looks like full balls-to-the-wall style and drama. It looks gritty. It looks sexy. It looks like everything you'd expect from Sam Levinson, and that's exactly why I'm excited for it. Moving on, my list would not be complete without anything Star Wars, and despite me having trepidations about the previous season of this show, I can't help but anticipate Season 3 of The Mandalorian, just because of how good the first season was. Please, Disney, can we return to the glory days of the first season, where it was more like an old Western serial show, where it was old wolf and young cub, and they were going across the galaxy. I don't need my Luke Skywalkers, I don't need my Jedi, I just need my Mandalorian, and I need my Grogu, and I need them doing cool shit. I don't need the nostalgia, I need them to do something with this which really now sets it apart on its own, like what Andor is doing. Please, Disney, you're capable. Thank you, that'd be great. That leaves me with my last most anticipated show of the year. Comes out next week. This is a tough one because everything around this looks really good. And this is two of my favorite video games of all time. And I love everyone they've put into this show. I love the people that are working on it. And it's got the potential to be something very special, I think, but it also could be specially bad. And that is The Last of Us. Yeah, I think everyone has heard of The Last of Us being a thing now, especially a TV show. I recommend everyone who can play the games before watching the show to do so. The Last of Us Part 1 is coming to PC very soon. I don't think it's going to be in time for the show. But yeah, this could be the dystopian post-apocalyptic thing that HBO has been looking for. It always wanted one, I know, for years. They've already had it. But this could be the one. It could, like, it's allegedly only adapting the games as well, which is good. Apparently it's going to just adapt the two games. It's going to end, which is great, which means there's a plan, which means it's written, which means they're not going to be making up things on the spot. So again, there's a lot of hope on this show. And frankly, I can't wait to start it next week. I may stay up really late for it to come out and then watch it and then just go to work like a zombie or like one of the infected to fit into the Last of Us universe. But those are my most anticipated shows of 2023. And that brings us to my most anticipated films of 2023. I'm definitely missing out some. Probably some smaller films that I am very excited for, but these are like the big ones, my top 10 of what I'm excited for this year. And I'll start with my number 10. My number 10 is Asteroid City by Wes Anderson. Now, not much is really known about this, but it's Wes Anderson. I'm gonna fucking watch it. I know that the cast is huge for this one. I can't even name the cast that is in it. I just know that it's gigantic, like much more akin to like French Dispatch, but yeah. I'm here for everything Wes makes, and I will be here for Asteroid City when that eventually comes out. That takes me to my number 9, and my number 9 is Poor Things. And this is another one I don't know much about. It's by Yorgos Lanthimos, again, teaming up with Tony McNamara, I believe it is, the writer of The Favourite. Love The Favourite, love both The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacred Deer from Lanthimos. I'm not huge at Dogtooth, but I do like it. It's probably... I feel like Dogtooth is a hard one to like, but yes. This is allegedly based on a novel. Haven't read the novel, but Lanthimos and McNamara, I'm in instantly. That's all I need to know. I'll watch that. That's my number 9. Moving on, my number 8. This is, I would call my most vanilla of choices. This is the one that the guys are going to tease me for actually liking Marvel, but it's actually Sony, it's not Marvel, and that's Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Okay? Phil Lord and Chris Miller are back. Sick animation is back. Miles Morales is back. Looks good. Looks like fun. Hope it's going to be as good as the first one. We'll see. Definitely going to go and watch this one the day it comes out in the cinema. Moving to number 7. This is actually the film with, so far, the best film trailer that I've seen in the last couple of years. And that's Barbie by Greta Gerwig, written by Noah Baumbach, starring Margot Robbie and also Ryan Reynolds. Don't know what the fuck is going on with this film, but I'm intrigued as all hell, and it's going to be a tough one to choose between the day Oppenheimer and Barbie come out on the same day. I might do a double bill of both of those films at the cinema on that day. Should be a really good day by all accounts, but yeah, Barbie is at number 7. Moving to number 6, this is a film I should hopefully be watching next month. I purchased the book just last week, and I'm about 100 pages in, and so far very disturbing, but that is Women Talking by Sarah Polley. This is technically a 2022 film, but I mean, we didn't get this until, or we're not getting it until next month in the UK, so it does count for me to put it to my 2023 list, I think. And yeah, the book is so far gripping, but a very tough read, only about 100 pages in. And I imagine the film is also going to be a pretty tough watch, but I find this stuff very compelling. Sarah Polley is a very good filmmaker. Big fan of the cast, with people like Ben Whishaw, Rooney Mara, Claire Foy, Jessie Buckley, huge fan of hers. So yeah, I'm in to see the women talking, and I want to know what they're talking about. That's my number 6. At number 5, this is where things got a little bit for me. This is where the list, probably apart from my number 1 and my number 2, this was like, it was pretty hard to kind of number things from here on out, but here I go. Things could change. I'm just going to say it. Dune Part 2 at number 5. Denis Villeneuve, me and a friend of mine refer to him as our friend Denis because he does no wrong. He treats us like a friend would. He treats us with respect. He does things that we like. We can always depend on him. And Dune Part 1 was a surprising revelation. It wasn't perfect, but for someone trying to make a Dune movie, it's probably exactly what it needed to be. Maybe it could have steered more into the psychedelic side of things, but then I guess you're getting Warner Brothers to give you shitloads of money, so that can kind of push people away. So see why he did it, but I still really, really loved Dune Part 1, so we got to finish it off. I got to watch Dune Part 2. Our Lord, Lady and Savior, Florence Pugh is going to be in this one as Princess Irulan. Austin Butler's coming along for the journey, and it is sure to be huge, so that's why it gets my number 5. Number 4 is also going to be huge. Whenever this person makes a film, I'm instantly excited. I normally go and see it day 1. The last time I went to a day 1 of this person's film, wasn't too impressed. I was a little bit let down, but like I still had a good time, for lack of a better term. It's Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan. Huge cast. He's doing something more historically based this time. And seeing the trailer in IMAX, when I first heard what this film was going to be about, I'm like, this sounds like more drama-y, like than what Nolan is normally used to. But I mean, this seems like a pretty fucking huge drama when I saw the trailer of it in cinema. So yeah, I'm really excited. I love Cillian Murphy. I'm so glad he's actually finally getting a starring role in a Nolan film. And I'm going to be here for every second of it when that eventually releases, I believe, in July. I may save this for watching after Barbie, but we'll see. My number 3, this doesn't have a confirmed release date yet, but I just can't help but not be excited by this notion. It's David Fincher. He's making a movie called The Killer, starring Michael Fassbender, and it's said to be a very dark thriller about a person that kills people. That's all the explanation I feel like I need to give with this one, to be completely honest, because it's an incredible actor with an incredible director, with the director taking on a subject he'd supposedly be very good at. So, I mean, let's just get together and make a film baby over that, and that's what they're doing. And I need this film. Please come out in 2023. That's why it's at my number 3. So, yeah, number 3, The Killer by David Fincher. My number 2, this is where probably 1 and 2 are so interchangeable it hurts. Like, it's not even depending on like the day. It could just depend on my mood of which one I prefer more. I'm more excited for. Both have been in production for a long time. Both are from directors that I love. They're in my echelon of favorite directors of all time. But where they differ is that one is very young and the other one is, I guess, very old, but he's said to be one of the masters of his craft. So at number 2, it is Killers of the Flower Moon by Martin Scorsese. Yeah, that's the noise I make when I think about this film, the fact that it hasn't come out yet and that I haven't seen it yet. It's Marty bringing back DiCaprio, he's bringing back De Niro, and he's bringing along Jesse Plemons. And they're following a plot based on a novel about some officers that go to investigate some murders on a Native American reservation in the 30s, I believe. And that just sounds like the perfect plot for a Martin Scorsese movie. I need it right now. I need it in my veins. I'm kind of biased going into this already. I feel like I'm gonna fucking love it, just as it starts. But I don't see how this can be in any way like a subpar film. It's definitely going to be good because you've got one of the best filmmakers of all time with two of the best current actors actually, and one of the best actors of his generation. Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon, it gets my number 2. That leads me to my number 1, and this was a film I was actually convinced for a while we would never see the light of day, because it's been fucking so long in production. It allegedly had a 4-hour cut at one point, but we did get a poster for it just, I think, 2 weeks ago, and I was over the moon to see that it still exists. It did have a name change, because my number 1 film was initially known as Disappointment Boulevard, but now it has been changed to Beau is Afraid, and that is written and directed by the great Ari Aster. People that know me know that I'm huge on Ari Aster with all his short films. Obviously watched Hereditary and Midsommar, probably way too many times than is healthy. I love everything this guy does, and when I first heard about Disappointment Boulevard and the fact that he had Joaquin Phoenix in it, I was like, fuck, dark comedy horror, I'm in, looks so good. Even when I heard there was a 4-hour cut, I'm like, yes, please, give me 8 hours, I don't give a shit. I'm, again, just really glad that this is actually going to come. It is said to be coming in 2023 from none other than A24. I can't wait. Genuinely can't wait. This is the biggest one. Even though the poster does look a bit shitty, I don't care. The Northman poster looked fucking terrible, and that film was awesome. And plenty of films have had terrible posters and have still turned out to be awesome. But yeah, guys, again, apologies I couldn't be with you in person, or rather over our Riverside podcast thing. Andrea and Franco, I'm sure you're having a great time in the studio. And this has been my most anticipated games, TV shows, and films. I hope you enjoyed them. Thank you.
So thank you for that, Joe. And moving on now to the most anticipated video games.
Wait, because he forgot to add Beau is Afraid, the dumbass, on his list. We're also anticipating lots of Beau is Afraid over here.
Oh,
huh?
yeah.
Oh, yes.
How disappointing, Joe. I'm very, very disappointed.
He makes a cameo in Beau is Afraid.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Wait, what?
You can see him in the trailer.
Yeah, have you seen the trailer?
Oh my god, yes.
Basically, if you see Danny Menochet, who is if you've seen Inglourious Basterds, is the Mr. I forgot, but when he
was in the cinema, right? Was he the one in this? No, he was the family.
The one
family.
With the family.
The family at the start.
The father, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Family at the start. They
If
are
you didn't mention him, I wouldn't have remembered. But yes,
exactly the same
likeness of Strad.
that's
Johannes.
funny.
Yeah.
Exact likeness.
Well done, Joe. You didn't tell us you worked with Ari Aster. Bastard.
Needs to bring him on.
Maybe that's why he forgot
Needs
it.
to bring him on the podcast now.
Mela, he's international guest too.
All right, James, most anticipated video games.
So I listed down Marvel Spider-Man 2 as my most anticipated game of 2023. Spider-Man Remastered, so the one that came out 2 years prior. Was it 2021?
I think so. I haven't played it yet.
But that was sort of my first narrative game I played in a long while, shortly after I got my PS5, which was in April of last year, of 2021 actually. I don't know, it just took me back to my childhood days of playing Grand Theft Auto 5 when I really shouldn't have been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and sort of swinging around New York City in 4K 60s. It's one of the things that brings the child out of everyone, I think.
You have a PS4 Pro, James?
No, PS5.
You have a PS5.
Is it open world or not really?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is, and there are a lot of very similar to Grand Theft Auto in the sense of how the map works and how you can interact with the city. Then I also have Hogwarts Legacy listed down. Not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but heard a lot of hype about the game, and even some of the trailers which I watched looked exhilarating.
Francesca.
Hogwarts Legacy is like the number one, the only thing on my list, the only game on my list rather. I'm very excited, and I've been excited for. They announced it a while ago.
Ooh, it's been
It
the
must have
makings
been
for a long
like,
time.
2021 for sure.
Ooh, even earlier, I
But
think.
I've been thinking about this game for a while. And I got my PlayStation not long ago, actually in like 2020, at the beginning of COVID, right at the beginning of COVID. So. And I don't play all that many games, like first-person view games are off limits for me because I get ridiculous motion sickness. But in fact, and I'm not sure about Hogwarts Legacy, I don't know if anyone knows how it's going to be.
So it's going to be third person. Have you seen any of the gameplay?
Third person open world as well.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! I'm so excited. Yeah.
James, have you seen any of the gameplay?
Yes. What's it called? The dining room at Cambridge.
In Hogwarts.
It's based on Cambridge.
It is.
It's based on Cambridge though. That's why. I
got confused for a second there.
A bit of lateral thinking because recently I was listening to a podcast about Oxbridge. And I heard from there that the dining room at Cambridge is like the same one used in Harry Potter.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I made the connection. Yeah, but I mean, it looked absolutely phenomenal. I think there was also ray tracing involved, so you can see like the reflections on the fucking cups.
Oh, that ray tracing is incredible. It's incredible. Yes. Although, to be fair, I have to remove it from most of, because I generally play competitive online games. So I remove all ray tracing because of FPS.
They said it's not multiplayer for sure.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Single player. Good. Because I hate multiplayer as well.
It's set in the 1800s, which is really interesting. It's not set in modern times. It's set in the 1800s. Yep.
Wow.
I found that really interesting. Okay. They tried to take a different direction, I think, with this video game.
Will we know the characters?
No. There will be some ghosts, we know, and we might see some ghosts as an actual person.
Of course.
Even before the proceedings of what's his Fantastic Beasts? What's his name?
Oh,
earlier,
yes, for sure.
Grindelwald and all that.
1800s.
Yep. So apparently, from the gameplay I saw, there's going to be a lot of dueling. You go to lessons. Like, I don't know if you played the earlier Harry Potter games, Harry Potter 1, 2, 3, 4.
I used to go to my friend's house to
I love those games.
Play
Harry Potter 1 was my first game. First game I ever played.
Wow.
No, sorry. No, second game, because the first game I played was, Wolfenstein 3D. Which shouldn't have been a game I played.
Was that
I played it on my father's laptop. Wolfenstein 3D. Then we got Harry Potter 1, which came out in 2001, I believe. And then I got a PlayStation. Then I had a PlayStation. I played like FIFA, Call of Duty, and then I started my Call of Duty addiction. Tekken 3. Love Tekken 3.
FIFA Street also.
FIFA Street on my PSP. Love.
I remember swinging the gnomes in Harry Potter too, like in the Weasley's house.
So good. That was every game basically. Every Harry Potter one had the swinging the gnomes.
Yeah.
Flipendo.
Flipendo. I remembered sound bites.
And do you remember Dumbledore and the Hagrid in the first Harry Potter? They looked awful.
The graphics, right?
The glasses, Dumbledore's glasses looked. Damn.
You're a wizard, Harry. I'm a what?
I love those. Franco, you mentioned another game you were anticipating.
You have to ask me the $1 million question. Into gamer. Because I'm not really much of a gamer, but I have a soft spot. I just heard myself saying, but I have a soft spot for Diablo, the Diablo series. I really like the lore in it and the graphics. I think it was one of the best cutscenes I've seen, together with StarCraft back in the day. I remember my cousin used to show me StarCraft and StarCraft 2 as well. And even the remastered version of Diablo, was it Diablo Resurrected?
Diablo 2 remastered, yeah.
No, even the first Diablo as well.
Even the first Diablo was remastered.
I think it was remastered.
I haven't played the first Diablo.
They remastered and combined them, but the cutscenes were amazing. I'm not sure if Tim Miller was involved, Tim Miller's company, with the first cutscenes, or he reacted to it. But yeah, there's Diablo. Is it 5 now or
4 now? 4.
When you see Lilith coming down
You know it's going to be an open world, right?
as well.
Yeah. There's going to be lots of bosses you can fight against.
Yes, there's lots of side quests
And side quests.
It seems like it's going to be quite bloody, and is there going to be a single campaign? Because it seems that
the focus is always on the like competitive, but not competitive in the sense that you're always trying to get more equipment and more.
No, I think
improve
it's
your
more
character.
team-based because I've seen some of the.
But yes, there's going to be a lot of cooperative gameplay in it as well.
I've seen
Diablo has always been about co-op play as well.
But
Even two.
I'm a bit of a misanthrope. When I play, I don't like having other people shouting down my headphones.
Even with your friends.
I don't have friends.
If you didn't say that, I would have made a joke. But now we're
No.
done.
I don't have gamer friends. No.
I have me.
Even my brother. My brother, he was playing God of War Ragnarok. He doesn't like the multiplayer ones. I even for FIFA as well. I've stopped playing FIFA because you have to play with other players. For me, it's. I don't know. I don't want gaming to be even more stressful than it already is.
Yes,
you know
it is.
I mean?
It is. I play Call of Duty. I play a lot of Call of Duty, and it's so stressful.
Look, I don't mind.
I get so angry.
Exactly. That's my point. So for me, gaming is just like stress.
It is very stress-inducing. In my case, I have quite a long list of video games. I feel quite the gamer here. So I have. I don't know if anyone here has ever.
Gamer.
You're not gamer. Have you ever heard of the Dead Space video game series?
Ooh,
That is some excellent horror.
That's being remade, no?
It's going to be completely remade from the ground up. And I never got to play the original Dead Space, so I'm really looking forward to it. I've watched a lot of trailers for it, and even the original. That is some excellent horror, Dead Space, and looks really good.
Gory.
It's coming out very soon. It's January 27th, so that will probably be the first proper game I play this year, apart from Call of Duty. I mentioned Hogwarts Legacy. You've talked a lot about Hogwarts Legacy. Anyone here has a Nintendo Switch?
No.
Very nuts.
I haven't touched it for a long time. But the next Legend of Zelda is coming out this year in May 2023. I love the first Legend of Zelda.
Call of the Wild.
Lots of Legend of Zeldas before it, but Call of the Wild, was an excellent open world gameplay. The traversal in that was so good. Starfield, which is Bethesda's first release in a long time, and Diablo 4, which I'm really looking forward to playing as well. I think Diablo 4 will be, hopefully, there's not a lot of in-game purchases. And have you heard about the whole Diablo Mortal?
Diablo Mortal fiasco.
No?
That was a big fiasco.
It was a huge fiasco because it was, like he said, in-game, lots of in-game purchasing, only on mobile.
Wow. And to basically to continue the game, you had to pay. Because the game wouldn't allow you to continue. It puts in lots of these like fake words. As in, it won't tell you can't continue because you have to pay. But you have to achieve a certain level, which you can only achieve by paying money, or else you have to play the game 24/7 for like months and months and months.
Oh, that's really horrible.
So you have to either you grind for months and months to get past to the next level, kind of, or else you pay €5, €10, and then you get the equipment required. You reach the level, and then you can continue.
Voilà.
And that is
I hate that,
a big no-no. Big no-no.
The thing with me with games is I enjoy watching other people playing them and their reactions. I used to follow Markiplier, for example, and I really like the way they concoct a story because I've seen it's funny. You like horror games?
I love horror games.
Have you played Evil Within?
I watched someone play it.
Evil Within.
Funny you should mention that because I watched someone play it.
And there's Evil Within 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one? Because they had a really great story.
The problem is games are expensive. €60, €70 a game. I can't afford to buy all these games.
But you're seeing the work that's going on behind them.
No, I understand it, but I just can't afford paying €60 for every game.
The scam is that you have to pay. You have a paywall. That's the only thing. I fucking bought this for €60. I have to pay more now, you know?
Hopefully Diablo 4 won't have that. Because to be fair, Diablo Mortal was free to play. So there's that. But
I
You have to pay
haven't
hundreds of euros to
I haven't played it, but there's going to be another Blasphemous. You have to play that game, man, because that has really good graphics, really good lore. Like I just enjoy watching it for the lore, because it's the horror is Catholic horror, Spanish Catholic horror to be specific.
Very niche.
Very niche, but like for example, the name of the sword is called Mea Culpa. You know, and
Interesting.
he, like for example, the player, you never see the character's face. He has to wear this huge, almost pointed helmet with the face on. It's amazing, and like he has to achieve the greatest blasphemy. He has to reach up to the high heavens to kill basically the creature, so to speak, so not to spoil much, who rained down a curse on the village. And it has great imagery, and it's a Metroidvania actually.
When did it release? From
The first Blasphemous, I think 2020. Let me check. But the second one should be coming soon. I don't know if it's this year or the one after. But I really enjoyed the lore. That's what I like most. Stories and the graphics.
If you like lore, you have to try the Dark Souls games then.
Elden Ring.
And Elden Ring, obviously.
I
And
was
Bloodborne.
going to mention them just because of the DLC. Because I think From Software is the only company within recent years that doesn't churn out DLC just for the sake of money grabs, you know?
The Bloodborne DLC. Have you played Bloodborne?
Yeah.
Oh, the Bloodborne DLC is some of the
Platinumed it.
best. Some of the best DLC I've ever seen. Like what was her name? The character you fight, she's on the chair. She's on the chair when you enter, and then Lady Maria.
Lady Maria, yes.
Lady Maria.
Yes.
The music for it and the music for that boss fight gives me chills every night. Bloodborne, by the way, I don't know if you know, is my favorite game of all time.
Of all time?
Of all time, Bloodborne, number one.
Wow.
And there's a big distance between Bloodborne and the second favorite game.
Man.
It's brilliant. That cutscene when you come and enter and
No,
wake
I'm
up.
curious to ask what your second favorite game is.
There I have a few, so I don't have like a second one, just one. But I think my second favorite video game, considering all the hours I spent on it, would be Modern Warfare 2. The original Modern Warfare 2, not this new one,
Lalo.
which is rubbish.
Is this PS3 or Xbox?
This was, no, PS3.
PS3.
PS3. No, I never had an Xbox. PS3. But Modern Warfare 2, I spent
So
too many hours on it not to consider it as a great game. Franco.
Blasphemous was released 10th September 2019.
Okay.
And it's published by Team 17, if you remember the Worms series of games. Team 17.
Oh, Worms.
Right? Team 17. And
Sammy.
Blasphemous 2 is expected to be released this year.
Okay.
That's like, if you see, like, this is some of the I will show you some of the graphics. They're amazing. Like, this is the helmet that I was telling you.
Oh, wow.
All right.
It's reminiscent of the KKK? Or am I just...
No, but have you, because that is funny, because you've seen the Good Friday processions here in Malta, and we do have the pointing
yes,
heads. It's the same in Spain. You know, there's a similar tradition.
I
where they have
happened to be in
pointed-
Spain for the Good Friday
Exactly.
for Good Friday procession, and I saw
So
that.
much of the art is based on that, like horrifying to say the least. But
Ooh. It's very similar to Elden Ring, though, is it? The
the word
Armored.
is similar to Elden Ring, but the lore is more based on the Spanish Catholic tradition.
I love when they make these like decaying worlds, and like you can see there was once a massive, powerful empire, and now just everything is decaying. That's why I think I love the Dark Souls game so much.
One of the stories, and we finish up, is that one of the they say the penitent. That's how it started. Everything started, and he tied himself to a tree, and he became part of the tree.
Ooh.
So you see that the logo is in the shape of this penitent.
All right. That not exactly, but there is something similar in no, not exactly, but there is something similar in Dark Souls 3. But there's have you played it, Dark Souls 3?
No.
Something about lights, right?
There's a tree.
Okay.
But the idea behind the tree is similar. Anyways, guys, let's move on to something I know a lot of people will be looking forward to, the most anticipated series. James. Yes,
By
Franco.
the way, so for anyone who's watching us on YouTube or listening to us on the podcast, please leave a comment, like or subscribe. Leave a comment about your anticipated games and your anticipated movies and your reactions to the news that we've just discussed.
Yes, thank you, Franco, for that. James, your most anticipated series.
I only have one show on here, which is Succession Season 4. I think I've already mentioned this previously. Succession was the only cinematic content that I've watched within the past 10 weeks or so. Really well written, really well acted, and I think they have a lot of directions to take Season 4 in. I don't know. Have you watched Succession?
Yes, I have. I'm a little worried, just tad worried that the whole Roy Logan and kids conflict could become slightly repetitive. What do you think?
So. I think practically the first 3 seasons. I think the whole premise of the show
Is that?
is based on that.
But the writers are smart enough, I think, not to fall in that pitfall, in my opinion.
I think so too.
It's funny you should mention that. I think that was one of the reasons I stopped watching Succession.
You stopped watching it? When did you stop watching it?
I think the main reason was that I was getting very frustrated with the characters. I found them all so despicable, which isn't obviously a problem in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know, maybe the points, like I was finding it too depleting watching all of these people trying to constantly screw each other over.
I actually
But I
kind
mean,
of relate.
I am not, shitting on the show at all. It is a fantastic show. But it tired me. That constant, like.
All right.
Did you binge
As
watch
a-
it though? No, it makes quite a difference.
Depends
huh?
what you constitute as binge watching. I mean, not many in a day kind of thing.
Okay.
But I was watching at least one a day, I would say.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe since I watched
So-
them I watched an episode a
I'm
week,
sure
maybe
that
that
would
helped.
have made a massive difference, yes.
Because I've been
Yes.
following it since season 1, basically. So
Also,
season
you
2 I
literally
watched.
followed it
Yes,
week by week.
So
No, for
which
sure
season
that
is it
would-
now? 4?
No, season 4 is coming out now.
Yeah.
Mhm. I might pick it up again. I mean, especially I'm
I
sure
would.
once...
The end of season 3 is. Woo! That is how you do a finale. Jeez, that final episode was Red Wedding, huh? That was brilliant. It was so
I love
good.
how that's become a thing now.
It was brilliant. No. The final episode of season 3 was one of the best episodes of all time, I think, in my
That's
opinion.
true.
Anything else, James?
That's it. I also listed down Happy Valley. It came out in December of last year. So like 2022. I need to get around watching it. I absolutely loved the first, I think it was 2 seasons of Happy Valley. Actually 3. Have any of you watched it? It's a BBC
No.
crime drama, really similar to Line of Duty.
Is
Okay.
it a woman constable? Because
Yes,
I've seen
yes,
the trailer. It
yes.
looks interesting.
Mhm.
It looks interesting, very charming. The woman as well in the central figure.
Yeah.
Okay. Which season is that now? Happy Valley?
And now season 3 has just come out.
It's true.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is a case by case as well, procedural.
Yes. Very similar to Line of Duty, which I'm sure most of the listeners
And viewers.
have watched. And
Look how
viewers.
handsome, Madonna.
Oh.
Tichmarx, da. Sorry.
I'm trying to cover the light that's coming out.
All the single ladies, it's his birthday. And we don't even give a fuck if it's his birthday. Sorry, man.
All right. Francesca.
I actually don't have any series on my list. Were we to have Better Call Saul, that would definitely be on my list. But I think honestly, series leaving an impression this year, that was it for me. And I tend to get very obsessed with series, with the ones that I love. Because, for example, Better Call Saul is one that within the first 5 minutes, the first few shots, You know, I don't know if anyone's watched the final season. Like the first shots at the Cinnabon place, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be hooked.
You're
And
in.
anything I watch after this is going to feel like shit. Because I look for very specific things in series, and that just ticks all the boxes.
So Francesca, are you in the camp of Better Call Saul is better than Breaking Bad?
Oh, yes.
100%.
I mean, I'm not, Breaking Bad was amazing. They just somehow managed to make an even better series. Somehow. Because what they did was so reckless. Not reckless, rather dangerous. And they somehow managed to make it.
The storytelling was so much mature, compared to Breaking Bad. It was so...
Oh, wow. It was just, blew me out of the water. But, that's one of the reasons why, kind of, to be honest, I haven't really looked out for stuff that might appeal to me, which I'm sure there is, but...
So not even White Lotus or
I
Belly?
haven't gotten into White Lotus. I have to be honest with you all. Recently, I've kind of gotten into a bit of a trash TV.
Listen, we have Joe likes Too Hot to Handle, so that's one.
I watch Willow.
I've recently started watching, what's it called? Love is Blind. And it's not,
Seen it on
it's
Netflix.
obviously...
I saw the posters in the image on Netflix. That's all I've seen.
It's not something that I would look forward to, you know? But it is quite entertaining, I'm not going to lie. But as something that I really did get hooked onto, and I haven't checked if a new season is coming out next year, but if it is, definitely down for that. The Traitors. It's very, very big in the UK right now on BBC.
No idea.
It's a reality TV show, which basically...
that's why I have no idea.
No, for sure. And before, honestly, I never used to watch reality TV, I promise. But it's basically... No, it's basically the game of werewolf, where people have to kind of go... They go and live in this house, and every night, and at the beginning, the traitors are selected, and all the rest are called faithfuls. And every night the traitors have to decide who to kill. And then the next morning someone is killed, or someone is removed from the game. Obviously people aren't actually killed in the filming of the show, to my knowledge. But then the next morning they have to decide who to vote out. Obviously the traitors are pretending to be faithfuls and so on. So very entertaining. They're considering actually getting out a celebrity version of that, which would be even more fun. But I found it a lot of fun. So I'm going to pass the baton to Franco.
Anticipated series.
Mela. Obviously, I'm a Nicholas Winding Refn fanboy, so there's Copenhagen Cowboy. It's out already.
Oh, yeah, that is out. I have been interested in that.
Sometimes I watch it just for the visuals. Sometimes story is not his forte, especially... I like, what was its name with Ryan Gosling in it?
Drive?
Not Drive. No. It was all shot in Thailand. And in fact, the better movie that came out of that experience was his wife's documentary of shooting that movie.
Only God Forgives.
Only God Forgives.
Okay.
Only God Forgives looks particularly amazing, but it's not as good as story-wise. And the Copenhagen Cowboy, I think it continues the tradition he started with Too Old to Die Young. I haven't finished watching Too Old to Die Young for the simple reason that it's very inconsistent, especially with running time. Sometimes it's as long as a movie. Sometimes it's like long 45 minutes. In fact, the first thing I checked with Copenhagen Cowboy is how long is each episode. And it's almost 1 hour, 1 hour or 50 minutes.
Okay.
So it's much more manageable. But the typical neon, deep saturated colors of Winding Refn, which I will say he's one of my influences, are there. Speaking of which, quick trivia moment, you know why? His color, has very saturated movies, because he's colorblind.
Ooh, wow. All right. It's interesting.
And so he can see these contrasts. So it's very, very interesting. I'm also, funny enough, looking for it to see Last of Us. I want to check it out. And I know this is not, okay, let me say with the things that are coming out. Poker Face, Ryan Johnson's series with Natasha Lyonne. It's also a procedural based. I think it's not going to be long, 8.
I think it's 10 episodes.
10 episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes. And each episode apparently is its own story.
Yes, its own case. It's a case by case. And then there's also, I just got to know that there's going to be a Dune series called The Sisterhood.
Oh, that's coming out this year.
Yes, based on the
okay. Bene Gesserits.
Bene Gesserits, yeah. And finally, and I know Joe won't like this,
Mhm.
I'm interested to see what I've seen the trailer of Secret Invasion.
That looks really good, eh?
Could this be, and see if you agree with me, Andrea, could this be Marvel's answer to Andor?
Andor was excellent. Andor was excellent. I don't know if you watched it.
Andor, I want to continue it.
It
I've only
has
seen the
an
4
excellent
episodes.
soundtrack by Nicholas Britell. We've mentioned him quite a few times this episode. Could be, but it doesn't look as grounded as Andor.
We'll see.
I think Marvel struggle not to make lots of references. And I think that's one of the fortes of Andor.
that was
Lack of Star Wars references.
and that was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as well, no?
Yeah.
Like I haven't watched any.
I think, however, if they manage to keep it grounded, I think it can be a very good series. And if they lean into the like thriller elements of the whole thing, I think it can be very good.
That's the thing. And I mentioned before, I need to do some catching up with some really brilliant series like I May Destroy You and Normal People.
I May
Espe-
Destroy You. Top notch.
Chef's Kiss. How many
Chef's
Chef's Kiss?
I mean, it's tough to watch as well. Very tough to watch.
Yeah, the NRA is it her?
I forgot her name.
I remember reading her interview about I May Destroy You. It's very good, apparently. I haven't watched it.
Fantastic.
I need to catch up with some series.
I think I have to be in the mood for it, though, right?
Oh yes.
For sure.
Yes,
Yeah, it's very heavy.
I mean, there are a few moments of comic relief here and there. So it's overall it's quite heavy.
Damn no.
Okay, so these are my series. I have a few. First of all, like Franco mentioned, The Last of Us. I'm looking at the reactions and reviews which have come out. Apparently, it's brilliant. So I'm super hyped. The Last of Us, the first game, would be probably another one of those like second place games in my list. The original Last of Us, which came out in 2013. Damn, that is some story. And I know it's going to happen because overall they're going to follow the same storyline from the video game. But I'm preparing my tissues because that is one of the very few. I think there are 1 or 2 games which actually made me cry. And I'll stop there. But The Last of Us made me cry. The Last of Us made me cry. So there's that. There's Poker Face. Franco mentioned that as well. Produced by Ryan Johnson. He is a divisive figure in my head. I loved Looper. Looper is a brilliant, brilliant movie, in my opinion.
Looper is great.
I think his best
Have
movie
you
by
seen
far.
Brick?
I haven't.
Brick is good.
I haven't. It's
a
good.
It's a high school neo-noir. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is quite carries the film on his shoulder. I have to rewatch it again because the first time I've seen it was like, not bad.
And I have to give Looper a rewatch as well. But when I watched it a few years ago, I thought it was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So apparently it's going to be, like Franco said, a Mystery of the Week series. Apparently the main character can tell if someone is lying. So that's the twist, right, in the story, that she can tell if someone is lying, which is quite interesting. And there are going to be quite a few big names involved in it, in these like weekly mysteries.
Yep.
Then there's The Mandalorian, season 3. I love The Mandalorian, and following the success of Andor. I'm really looking forward to see where they take Din Djarin and Grogu, baby Yoda. The whole story basically of season 2 was retconned in a couple of episodes in what was the name of the other series?
Boba Fett.
In Boba Fett, which was terrible. That was some of the worst production design I've ever seen in anything having to do with Star Wars. Because if Star Wars does anything well, it's production design, and the budget for that really showed that. The budget for that was horrible. The CGI was horrific for Boba Fett. That's why I always forget the name.
Was Vera Fran?
No, I haven't watched it. No, but what I'm thinking is like why they let things come out from the same universe, if that's what we're using as an umbrella term. How these things happen? You know, how they come out from the same universe, and because fans are gonna have expectations and they're big ones. And...
I'm gonna quote Quentin Tarantino because of the words "small as violin." Money.
Yes.
Yep. And people will watch it, and people did watch it. But then the reactions to it ruined Andor's viewing. And Andor is a brilliantly written, brilliantly produced series. And unfortunately, it suffered because of the negative reactions to Boba Fett.
Andor is a spy story, even if you don't know
anything about Star Wars. Exactly. It's worth watching just for how good the soundtrack is, the production design is, and the whole story is. It's excellent. You can know nothing about Star Wars.
Very grounded, very grounded quasi.
There's that. Then there's Succession, season 4. James mentioned it, and I'm really looking forward to that. Like I asked James, I'm just a tiny bit worried the story might become a little repetitive. But you mentioned you hate it because, not hate it, but dislike it because of the like really despicable characters. That's what I love about it. I love despicable characters.
Yeah, no, and I'm sure that's the reason many people
watch it. That's my favorite thing about
it.
I love seeing despicable people doing despicable things. Call me a fun hater. That's fun for me, watching these despicable characters doing horrible things to each other. It's my all-time favorite thing. So that's my number one anticipated, their Succession. Then I have a couple of other series I'm looking forward to. Severance, season 2 comes out.
Oh, then that's on my list as well.
Yep, apparently it does come out this year.
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Severance, I'm really looking forward to the twist at the end, the cliffhanger.
Exactly.
Oh my
God.
I'm so looking forward to see that.
And it's also, I wish I should have mentioned it, one of the best TV episodes ever with its editing. And
the editing.
It's
the production design, the set pieces, everything.
It really showed how the characters were disoriented, finding themselves, like the innies finding themselves in the lives of the outies.
That was a great.
Ben Stiller directed that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Then I have a series. I don't know if you've heard of it. Straight Man. So talking about Better Call Saul, it's Odenkirk in it, and it looks very interesting. Being a teacher of English myself, it's focused around, so he's a chairman of the English department. And apparently, like Franco, he hates people.
He has many friends.
It's a midlife crisis tale, and it looks fascinating. It looks really good. It looks very, very good.
There's a trailer to see.
I don't think so. I've seen some photos here and there, some still images from the series. It looks excellent, and I'm very, very looking forward to that. And finally, how many great expectations have there been recently? I feel like there've been like 5 great expectations. But Olivia Colman is going to be in one.
Oh,
yeah, and it's going to be that changes things. And the writer and producer for it is the writer and producer for what was it for Taboo? Have you watched Taboo?
Stephen Knight.
I haven't yet, but I've heard fantastic things about it.
And what's the other series?
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. And so that's what made me interested in this. Peaky fucking Blinders. So that's what piqued my interest in it.
I see slowly the dead jokes are having go.
I knew I had to say that once I remembered Peaky Blinders. So those are my anticipated series. Guys, we have to hurry up because we have a few more minutes left. So let's move on to most anticipated movies. James.
So for myself, and I only wrote this down just because I was an extra on it, Ridley Scott's Napoleon. I worked as an extra on it for 2 days, but given that I signed an NDA, I'm contractually obliged to shut my mouth about it. To prepare for that role, I had to grow my beard for about 2 months, and I looked homeless. I looked really, 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 really awful. It was my first time on a film set ever, and I had lots of fun. It's not I'm not really sure how to phrase this, but being within the same kilometer radius of Ridley Scott, I think in it of itself is like an unforgettable experience.
And the guarantee for a restraining order.
That's it for Napoleon. I also have Asteroid City, of course, by Wes Anderson. Enough said. And one of the films I really, really, really want to watch, even though I haven't read anything about it, is Greta Gerwig's Barbie.
I think everyone here
Oh, sure,
We've
for
been
sure.
gushing
I'm sure it's
on
on
that
everyone's
movie.
list.
We've been gushing on that movie on our
looks
podcast
interesting.
for
Good
weeks now.
names.
Yeah, I mean, the internet exploded when that photo. I'm not sure if it was released or leaked. The Ryan Gosling and
Ryan
Margot
Gosling.
Robbie
Mhm.
photos.
Was it leaked?
I forgot.
Release as far
I think
as-
they were released,
Yeah,
though.
first look. It was a first look.
Mm-mm.
And then the trailer. It was so good.
Yeah. That's it, to be honest. I have a lot more here, but I'm not going to go through all of them.
All right,
Yeah.
Francesca.
Okay, well, I can't not say it's right at the top of my list. Beau is Afraid. To be honest, when Franco shared the trailer earlier today, because it was actually released today, I was a bit hesitant to watch it. I first started watching a few seconds of it and then I stopped. And then I saw everyone's comments about it and I said, you know what? Because the more I watch films, the more I say, like, you know, like Triangle of Sadness, I was so glad to have gone in blind and to not have watched the trailer.
Mhm.
And, you know, a bit Parasite, these films particularly that tend to change genre halfway
Mhm.
through the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very wary about it, but Ari Aster is like,
Ari Aster.
I mean, when I watched Hereditary, I watched it once, and then in the same 2 weeks, I watched it 2 other times.
It's
It was, I loved it, you know, I absolutely loved it, and same for Midsommar. So, and I've just been waiting for him to bring out something. And
Which is your favorite, Francesca?
It's very hard to decide. I really don't want to have to choose between them because I don't have a very clear favorite. Somehow I felt like Midsommar resonated a little bit. Not necessarily because I can relate to the plot or anything like that, but I think the first scene in particular, I'm not going to spoil it, but the first scene in particular, when something happens to Danny, the main character, it's so much resonated with what my deepest fear is that I was like, I wanted to stop watching and I couldn't stop watching.
Our Lady and Savior's Scream as well. Paint Scream. Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
So definitely
She's gonna get us a restraining order. Keep this up.
We won't be able to get within a mile of her.
I read somewhere in an article that came out in like 2020 that it's supposedly going to be 4 hours.
3 hours. It's gonna say so.
And I'm sure that by this time now they must have cut it down. But when I saw that, I was like, yes, please. Again, I'm not going to mention all of the films on my list, but I have to mention Cocaine Bear.
I was curious if anyone would mention it, but are you mentioning it as a joke or?
No.
Kind of. I mean, it's definitely going to be a film that I was going to watch. So I guess it classifies as a film that I'm looking forward to. But no, I'm very excited to go and watch it and take the piss out of it.
Yeah.
So probably not in the cinema.
It's a movie that will work on its own terms, like RRRs.
Exactly.
And again, intriguing. So
Irony will lead the way. I'm also looking forward to Next Goal Wins. I don't know if anyone.
Taika Waititi's next movie. With Michael Fassbender.
That is one of the other reasons why.
Fassbender.
Yes, no, I'm a massive Fassbender fan.
Quite a few flops recently.
True.
And also the storyline and the way that Taika Waititi seems like he's going to be developing it gave me a lot of Ted Lasso vibes. Because kind of he's developing a team from nothing to
Western Samoa, I think, yeah.
So
but it's based on a true story. That one as well,
yes. But it seems that he's going to be giving it more of a comedic kind of.
Yes.
Because as far as I know, there was already another film, and I can't remember the name, covering that story. So the fact that it's giving a bit more of a light-hearted moods, that was kind of, and I loved Ted Lasso. So anything that's kind of reminds me of it. But then obviously there's Oppenheimer and Dune Part 2 and The Whale.
Close.
Yeah. Also Asteroid City.
To go back to Cocaine Bear, do you think it will release in Malta?
I hope so. I'd be very disappointed.
Bumps on seats, considering they have to, no?
I'm not sure though. I mean,
I think there will be a bit of hype around it, though.
the trailer went absolutely viral.
St. James might actually throw a curveball and release it.
I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
They do listen to us prickly pears, eh? So,
Do they? Interesting. Okay.
especially since they're showing Tar and After Sun, so they.
But
I
those
think,
are art house movies.
But those
I
are
mean,
big
After Sun
everywhere,
is-
you know?
And,
I mean, Cocaine Bear is a bit of a joke.
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine
is-
Bear is-
Cocaine Bear.
honestly, that's something we should actually open our. Which something that I learned reading Quentin Tarantino's movie. I think we should open ourselves more to these kinds of B movie.
For
Omela.
sure,
Omela,
I agree.
Omela.
No, and
Because this is B
for
movie.
entertainment factors. Just,
Yes.
you know, and it doesn't even need to be like it can even happen in highbrow. This kind of ridiculous scenes. You know, I felt it a little bit in Triangle of Sadness, to be honest. We have these ridiculous scenes almost. So they, you know, why not?
Okay, anything else? Francesca?
Last Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, all right.
Into the Spider-Verse was like one of my favorite films of all time. I'm not even that into like comic books and anything like that, but watching that was such a great experience. So,
And there's also one you want to mention to Andrea as well.
Oh,
No, you don't. The completely filled man.
The empty man.
The completely unempty man.
The empty man.
You have to throw it in there. Hashtag Andrea was the empty man. Okay? Comment. Hashtag Andrea was the empty man.
Franco, your anticipated movies for 2023.
So, we've
fucking
had
empty
Barbie,
man.
Oppenheimer, Cocaine Bear, Dune Part 2.
Mhm.
For the simple reason that James Mangold is directing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I've heard that.
What he did with Logan was fantastic. So I have high hopes for Indiana Jones. There's John Wick 4.
John Wick 4 is-
Good action. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. There's oh my god. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1. Killers of the Flower Moon by Scorsese.
Yes,
Ooh.
I forgot about that.
That comes out this year.
That's
Oh, damn.
end of this year, yes.
It was already
End of this
late,
year.
no? It was,
Yeah.
it was meant to be.
I should have mentioned that.
I have to say, Antum Quantumania seeing the latest trailer, because the first trailer was... Joe was right. Sorry, Joe, but only the first trailer was right. This time's like,
It looks
okay.
good.
It looks more polished. It looks like there's... the stakes will be upped a bit. So I think it's going to be the... establishing the new Thanos of this phase, so to speak, Kang the Conqueror. And Jonathan Majors seems like he made a better step. I think now that we'll see this Kang, we'll see that he had to be a bit more eccentric.
Eccentric, He was a bit too eccentric for my liking.
True.
In Loki.
But maybe it will make... we'll see now how it reflects with this Kang. There's Renfield. It seems that Nicolas Cage is enjoying. Dracula. Infinity Pool, which is coming out this January 2027. Brandon Cronenberg's. I haven't seen a Brandon Cronenberg movie yet, and I have to check it, especially Possessor, and he had another one, right?
I haven't seen any of his either.
And Infinity Pool looks good, with our other lady and
Come
savior.
up with David Cronenberg.
That's his Crime of Future Past, David
Okay,
Cronenberg.
exactly. All right. Okay.
Apparently
so
even
no, I
his-
haven't watched Brandon Cronenberg.
And I think Sharon Cronenberg, even his daughter, is going into
wow,
filmmaking
okay.
now. And Infinity Pool, we have our other lady and savior, Mia Goth,
Oh, my God.
and the very, I have to admit, very handsome, good-looking Alexander Skarsgård
Oh, I love him.
in it as well.
Yeah.
Now, there's also an interesting movie coming out by Yorgos Lanthimos.
I forgot to add that.
Poor
Yes.
Things.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
reteaming with
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also with the writer of The Favourite, Tony
Mm,
McNamara. Tony McNamara. It's Tony McNamara. It's an adaptation of a book by Alasdair Gray. And it's a pretty grim riff on Frankenstein. And the story goes that a pregnant woman, she's escaping her abusive husband and she drowns while she's doing so. And the bastard basically plans to resurrect his wife and using the unborn baby's brain and replaces it with his wife. So it's a very pretty
Damn.
grim
Oh,
riff
that
of
sounds lovely.
Damn.
with
Sounds fun.
Willem Dafoe and Emma Stone.
Ooh, that is Very
Gods
exciting.
have provided.
I think this year we're gonna have like it's gonna. When is the Boys Afraid? There's no release date yet, right? With
April.
With Boys Afraid and this one, we're gonna have some really
Oh, yeah.
huge gut punches. Not gut punches, maybe even lower than the belt, most probably.
Anything else, Franco?
That's it so far. And then Oppenheimer, of course.
Well, I have a few. Pretty much, you've taken all of mine. The only one I think you haven't mentioned is Evil Dead Rise. I don't know if you're fans of the Evil Dead series.
I haven't seen Istra. I have yet to see the first trilogy, the last entry. What was it?
Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. I have yet to watch that.
It's very good.
I
It's
know
very,
it's
very
good.
funny. And Bruce Campbell is excellent in it.
And I have to watch his. I watch the first remake that they did.
I haven't watched the remake, so this is the next movie I'm going to go watch now.
Okay.
The 2013 Evil Dead Rise. I haven't watched that. But the originals
The origins are fun.
so campy, but very, very well made. And the camera work, I will repeat, the camera work is excellent.
Yes,
It's excellent.
The
Excellent,
point of view
excellent
of the
stuff.
spirits. And again, I think to mention again this idea of having fun with B movie, I think that's something Mota should consider as well.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of filmmaking, last time.
We should open a B-movie cinema.
Fair.
Hey,
stuff.
That would be cool.
Who wants to invest?
It should be the cinema bar because maybe alcohol will help alongside the B-movies.
There was
Yeah.
City Lights,
City
Lights,
but
yeah,
it closed down.
City Lights closed down.
But B movie here would go
Yeah,
fantastic.
it would be fun.
So that's Evil Dead Rise. Then I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
That was, I think, my second or third favorite movie of that year, which is coming out in June 2nd. So I'm really looking forward to that. Asteroid City. I mean, apart from the obvious, we have Tom Hanks, Steve Carell, Margot Robbie, Maya Hawke, Matt Dillon. It's an amazing cast.
Yeah.
Mm.
And obviously Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum, and
Scarlett
so on and so
Johansson.
forth. ...
Can I be the Wes Anderson hater here?
Oh,
Really?
I think he's beating a dead horse now.
To be honest,
yeah.
No. Wait. I felt like there was something in the French Dispatch that I missed.
Yeah.
Considering
That was
the
brilliant.
hype around it, I think maybe it confused me. I went in blind, and I wasn't expecting different episodes, and I was getting very lost. So I think I speak with the disclaimer that I should watch it again, knowing what to expect. But my first viewing was that I was like, I'm missing something because everyone's loving this and I'm not really, and I would still say
It's definitely one of those films that the first viewing prepares you to actually watch the film, so you need to watch it more than once.
French Dispatch, I liked it. I saw it in the cinemas in Korea. I enjoyed it. Picture looked great, but the problem with him is he's becoming a one-trick pony. With his it's becoming too
visually,
yes,
but the stories aren't.
French Dispatch, I like the stories.
The
story is very good in French Dispatch, but visually he needs to up the ante, I feel like.
But French Dispatch was so pretty. Like, what would you change?
Yeah, ma, that's the thing. Even I didn't like, for example, the Grand Budapest looked amazing, but it felt empty. It was like all sugar, no cake.
No,
I feel like Fantastic Mr. Fox did that a little bit, and also I Love Dogs.
I haven't seen those two yet. I haven't seen those two yet. But
because I feel like in those the color palette was quite different. Like especially I Love Dogs.
Yes.
Lots of greys, and even the Royal Tenenbaums. I feel like it's moved away a little bit.
But excuse me. Not only Royal Tenenbaums. You see where he started to where he's going through. Okay, you can see. What was the name of his first movie? There was not Bottle Rocket. After Bottle Rocket, Grand Budapest, Rushmore.
Oh, Rushmore, of course. Yes.
Wait, what's this? The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
What? Oh yeah,
I haven't
watched that one
Wait,
either.
this is I just got to know about this. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. It's an American adventure comedy a film written produced by Wes Anderson, released 2023 with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wait,
And
what?
I'm just seeing it right now.
No, but there was another film.
But this is also going to be shown before Asteroid City. I'm just saying it now. Dev Patel, Ralph Fiennes, Benedict Cumberbatch, Richard Ayoade,
What's
Ben
it called?
Kingsley. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
But
I feel like I've
No
heard
idea.
about that before.
No, but this is.
Interesting. No.
I didn't see.
No
just
idea.
Now.
Cool.
Anyway, but you see from how he went from Rushmore
Mm-hmm.
down to Grand Budapest. Now I think he's focusing too much on the artifice. Still greatly orchestrated artifice. Not to like put him down, but then I feel like I want to see something new from him. Like for example, Ari Aster. Ari Aster said he wants to do a nightmare comedy, and he seems like he's going to deliver with Boys Afraid, and especially with Midsommar as well. Like he is working within his own signature. Ari Aster. Wes Anderson is working within his own signature, but is providing nothing substantial. Because
I would disagree completely with that. But we don't have time for that discussion.
Can do a whole episode on
do you agree, guys? Viewers, comments.
Exactly.
TikTokers.
Yeah, TikTokers, let us know. What do you think about Wes Anderson's movies?
And do us a dance as well.
Unfortunately, Wes Anderson's movies aren't 1 minute long. No, but that's me being snobbish about TikTok. I have to stop that. Other movies I have listed are Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, which, I love Tom Cruise, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he comes up with next. More crazy stunts. Obviously, Oppenheimer and Barbie, I'm wondering which one I'll go to watch, because they're releasing on the same day,
Same day, yes.
July 21st. So
Double book. First
I
go watch
probably
Barbie
have
and then
Of
go
course,
watch
man.
Oppenheimer.
Of course.
I think first Oppenheimer, sorry. Then
Exactly.
Barbie.
I think you might prefer watching Oppenheimer and then chill.
But Oppenheimer would be really long. It'd be like 3 hours.
So you wouldn't.
So I'm
feel
going to
like...
watch 3 hours of Oppenheimer and then go
But
see
are you going to
Barbie.
feel like watching 3 hours of Oppenheimer after?
Yes,
being in
after
a...
Barbie, I'll come out in a good mood, really good mood. Like
Okay.
it's a happy, who knows what it will be. Like it could be like everyone
It might
dies
not.
at the end.
3 hours.
That's what I love about this movie. No one has any idea what it's
But
going to be
I
like.
can't imagine Greta Gerwig. doing
3
something
hours.
like
I'm
of
imagining
Barbie,
something
yeah.
like
No, I think
like
it will have a dark.
Severance.
I think it will have a dark side, yes, because I heard it described as into the Spider-Verse of Barbies.
Ostra.
Ooh,
So it has,
all
but
right.
it has, and they did mention that there's a satire element in it.
No, for sure. I don't doubt.
In
it.
fact, there was an article where Noah Baumbach, because he wrote it with Greta Gerwig, that apparently Barbie operates within the same word as white noise. So there's going to be like a...
White Noise was really good.
I haven't seen.
I
haven't
loved
seen-
White Noise. Actually, no, not loved.
See,
Liked
this
it quite a bit.
This is the new Don't Look Up. Some people liked it, some people hate it.
I
But
really liked
I was
it.
expecting something similar to the book.
I haven't read the book,
And, I think I would have enjoyed it more if I didn't read the book.
And Women Talking. Sorry, I have to mention Women Talking. I really look forward for
Yes.
Women Talking.
Yes, I have the book. I haven't read it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to it.
So
Still
far,
no
Joe's
news.
liking the book.
Still no news about it releasing in Malta, right?
No.
I'm sure it will.
Because, Maltese people really like Women Talking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Spots you will get it though.
I'm
But
sure
yes, Spots will
eventually.
get it for sure.
And the last movie I have on my list was Dune Part 2. And I'm really looking forward to that. And thankfully, we have Our Lady and Savior in it, Florence Pugh, as well.
I'm also very much looking forward for. I would go and watch it just for Florence.
Are you
Yeah.
team Florence Pugh?
Of course.
Who
she's
isn't?
she's currently like one of my favorite actresses, if not my favorite.
Restraining order coming in.
Oh, no,
And
she's
obviously,
great.
we have to finish with our episode with mentioning the one and only movie that you have to watch, Andrea.
Look at that straight face.
Look at that face.
Look at it.
Enough. The meme has been overdone now.
You have to watch it because we're gonna continue it anyway.
You know how much stuff I have to watch every day. Like, I have to train. Whilst I'm training, I actually watch movies whilst I'm training.
That's good. That's a good
Like,
hack.
I'm training, I'm doing weights, and I have to watch the movie at the same time as well, because I don't have any time. So that's like the little free time I have.
Wait, stop watching Willow and stop watching like.
I didn't watch the last episode, by the way. I have to
even
go watch
Blood
it now.
Origins. You watch Blood Origins.
Damn it. I'm a
Must be them
masochist.
addictions.
I'm a masochist. I'm addicted to horrible series.
Can I
That's the
just
thing.
add in another film that we forgot to mention? Very quick mention: The Little Mermaids. First
Ooh,
mermaid
alright.
that isn't Caucasian. Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem.
Javier
And
Bardem.
the singing
And David
is
Diggs.
amazing.
Oh,
David
please.
Diggs. Anyone who knows Hamilton
Do I look like Lin-Manuel Miranda, guys?
Yes, okay.
And so we have
But
the
yeah,
moment.
no, just to
definitely.
mention, because I forgot to mention that earlier. I'm quite looking forward to that.
He's Lin-Manuel Miranda, isn't it?
No, it's just David Diggs. Who
David
plays-
Diggs.
Yeah.
David Diggs, have you seen his Blindside? Because he's a really he has
It's amazing. It's amazing.
he has a
Do
great
no wrong.
he has a great group called Clipping, and David Diggs is also in the series Snowpiercer,
Oh shit, okay, I didn't know that.
and he also did the movie Blind Spotting. Blind Spotting is worth checking out
Okay.
because
I
he
haven't
has,
watched that.
and I think he's written it. He's written that movie. I forgot who
Nice.
directed it.
All right. So, as a teacher of English, I must say I'm very proud with my timing. 7 on the dot.
Hey.
Thank you. I heard that.
Please make sure you listen this to the highest volume.
You need to put in like with the editing.
Okay,
you need to
send
put
that.
in or warning. Please turn down your volume. Less you get.
So, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that show. James, thank you so much for organizing. I
Cheers.
hope you enjoyed. I hope we can have you again very soon. Francesca, it's your first time as well.
Will you be coming back?
I would love to come back. This is so much fun.
Okay, Joe, you're kicked out officially.
Ciao,
We
Joe.
have our new resident.
Joe can take care of the TikTok.
And James, did you enjoy it?
Yes, very much so.
We have to thank James again for this opportunity, and thanks 103 FM, Malta's Heart.
Malta's Heart.
Malta's
that's
Heart.
right.
Thanks for this
Thank
$1 million
you.
studio.
And thank you to the team for having us here.
Thank you. Thanks, Eugenio.
Thank you.
We definitely cannot afford this. We had a blast as always. And I'm looking forward to your birthday celebrations when on the 13th.
Yeah.
Let's go. And James, you're coming on the 13th.
Not sure yet. On the 13th, I actually have a meeting about my dissertation.
Oh.
So that's
Surely
going
it
to
won't
be
last that long.
a very fun meeting.
You'll
That's
need
why you
some
need to
drinks
drink after.
that.
We'll see.
Come.
Hopefully I'll see you guys on the 13th, madam. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, let us know, like we said, what are your most anticipated movies, series, and video games of 2023.
And follow us all on our socials: Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram,
Yep.
and
We have a
YouTube.
TikTok. And YouTube, clearly. Ciao, guys.